Report, 85%. Chapter 86. Crazy wealth, Sanhua's secret realm. And countless immortal princes can pile up an immortal king. Among the immortal kings, there are very few who can become the lord of the universe. Only countless immortal princes can pile up an immortal king. Among the immortal kings, there are very few who can become the venerable universe. Even if you are unlucky, you will meet a universe venerable and be beheaded. Jin Feng also has countless clones. As long as one does not fire, it will not really die. At most, it will take a certain amount of time to cultivate the chief. This is the benefit of having a clone. Thinking of this, Jin Feng hurriedly asked him about the information of the Sanhua secret realm, but Feng Du and the others could only tell the whole story. This Three Flowers secret realm. Extremely dangerous. It is said that an era is only opened once. Every time it is opened, it will attract trillions of people to enter. Among them, even the weakest one is the peak world master. The powerful ones, even the venerable universe, and even the lord of the universe, entered it. Because this Sanhua 15 secret realm is really, treasures can be picked up on foot, and it is so rich. Even the Holy Land powerhouses in the cosmic sea will send powerhouses in every era. Because in almost every era, Sanhua's secret realm will produce Xian Shuan Bao. Xian to treasure, that is, true God weapon. A treasure that cannot be destroyed even by the three great Jedi of the universe sea, and even by the true God of the void. The height can easily reach several light years, and the power released can form an absolute field within a certain range. In this field, all laws can be dispersed, and even the Lord of the universe may fall. Even the most powerful person in the universe, that is, the true God, may not be able to possess the most powerful treasure, and is very eager for it. A fifth-order universe master is very weak in front of a true God. But once the Lord of the universe has the right Xian and supreme treasure, his strength will skyrocket instantly, and he can even rival some elementary true gods. This is the power of the most powerful treasure. It is said that Luo Feng, the human lord, had more than one powerful treasure, so he was able to rival the Lord of the universe during the time of the Supreme Master of the universe. Every era of Sanhua's secret realm will produce Xians and supreme treasures, and even some eras will produce more than one. As for ordinary treasures and even heavy treasures, they can be seen everywhere. But the rewards are generous, and the degree of natural danger is also high. The difficulty of the Sanhua secret realm is dynamically adjusted according to the strength of the intruder. For example, in the Sanhua secret realm, some strange beasts would occasionally attack. And the strength of this strange beast is related to the strength of the person who breaks into the secret realm. The venerable universe will meet the alien beasts of the venerable universe level, which is even more difficult. But the strange beasts encountered by the little world lord will only be around the world lord, at most not immortal. In this way, even the lord of the universe will be as restrained as the lord of the world when he acts, which is quite difficult. Sanhua's secret realm is good, I can try it. Jin Feng's heart was filled with enthusiasm, and he hurriedly asked about the location of the Three Flowers secret realm. Feng Du asked, could it be that brothers Jin Feng, Dot and Master Zishan also want to go to the Sanhua secret realm? Jin Feng was noncommittal, but said, just ask. Seeing this, Feng Du had no choice but to report a location to Jin Feng, after which Jin Feng did not speak out again until the end of the banquet. Endless sea of stars. A purple rainbow rushed forward with astonishing momentum, its speed unexpectedly reached an astonishing 100 times the speed of light. After a closer look, it was discovered that it was actually a plant life with a height of 10,000 meters. However, its aura is only the master of the world, and generally speaking, the speed can reach 1/10 of the speed of light. And over 100 times the speed of light, it is really shocking. And on top of this plant life, stood a giant golden beast about 100 meters high, with its eyes closed, as if it was deep in thought. Since the days of retreat, the world in my body has now covered hundreds of millions of kilometers. However, the growth of the endless tree and the purple vine has slowed down, and the speed of absorbing divine power has slowed down. It should be a matter of the genetic level of life. It seems that the next step is to focus on the genetic level of life. Only, thinking of this, Jin Feng felt a headache. The divine power required at the genetic level of life is too exaggerated. Although I have an endless supply of immortal crystals, it is still very slow to absorb them alone, and I need an additional supply of strange objects. Today's Wisteria life gene level is as high as 10-14 times. This is still under the condition that he is not yet an adult. Once he grows into a full body, the life gene level of the purple vine will increase dramatically. As for the clone of the endless tree, the life gene level has also reached 121 times. The life gene level of Jin Feng Jin Yang's giant beast is also a full 87 times. No way, the purple vine clone enjoys the most resources because the special life is too powerful. As the avatar of the master station, he should enjoy the most care. As for Jin Feng himself, he only needs a little bit of divine power to expand the space in his body. And this flower, Jin Feng suddenly took out a small flower from the world ring, and sighed slightly. I haven't researched this flower all the time. What's the use of it? But the breath is so weird, it must not be something mortal. This flower was something that Jin Feng snatched from Ba Mo, and at that time he noticed that it had an aura very similar to that strange giant tree. But when he got it, after studying for a period of time, Jin Feng gave up the idea of continuing to observe. This flower, like the giant tree, is very strange. When it was not a last resort, Jin Feng didn't want to be reckless and graft it on the clone of the endless tree. After all, he still remembered the madness of King Soul picture that day. Suddenly, a huge celestial body appeared in front of Jin Feng's eyes. This celestial body spans hundreds of light years, showing the shape of a gate, and on its lintel, there are two things that look like dragons and beasts. There is a group of colorful wall membranes wrapped in the gate, as if there is something behind it that is bulging, and there are large bags floating on it. Around this celestial body, hundreds of billions of beings gather, like dots of stars, adorning this huge celestial body. A lot of lives, just what I can see is more than a billion. The ones in the sky, are they palace treasures? Is that behemoth also a starry sky behemoth? The human race mobilized tens of billions of people to seize the treasure, and it seems that it is inevitable. Those auras are so terrifying. I just took a look, and I feel that my soul is extremely turbulent. Jin Feng looked left and right, like a countryman entering the city for the first time. He was very curious and interested in everything he saw. Report, 85%. Chapter 87. Entering the Sanhua secret realm, exploring with an avatar. Hundreds of billions of lives have gathered around the cracks in the Three Flowers mystery realm, and the most powerful aura among them stepped on everyone's heads, seeming to be chatting casually, but none of them dared to speak out. Only occasionally look into the sky with awe-inspiring eyes, but only dare to look at it. Those breaths are probably the venerable universe, or even the Lord of the universe. These existences, just the breath, make me feel trembling, it's really scary. Jin Feng sighed, turned his gaze to the entrance of the Sanhua secret realm, and then suddenly felt shocked. Because the gate of the Sanhua secret realm, which spanned hundreds of light years, faintly trembled, and the seven-color wall membrane also rose and fell, becoming restless. The secret realm has finally opened. I have been waiting for tens of thousands of years. HMPH, what is this? I heard that the powerhouses of the Cosmic Sea Holy Land stationed in the original universe, the task of each era is to wait for the opening of the Three Flowers secret realm. They are an era. I'm just a little immortal, how can I compare with the power of those masters of the universe? The Three Flowers secret realm has finally been opened. Very good. This time I must find a treasure. Only with the treasure can I be called the real immortal king. Haha, Three Flowers secret realm. Hey, for the sake of my family, I have to go to the Three Flowers secret realm. I heard that it is very dangerous. Even the Lord of the Universe and others are close to death. I, a little army master, probably died in this place. Some people are looking forward to it, some people are worried, but everyone's minds are attracted by the change at the entrance of the Sanhua secret realm in front of them. I saw that the celestial body that spanned hundreds of light years was faintly vibrating, which lasted for about 7 days, and then released an extremely powerful shock wave. Each shock wave, in terms of intensity, can even be compared with the general immortal self-destruction. That is, fortunately, the billions of lives are too far away from that body, otherwise each one will be affected. The shock wave gradually dissipated, and then the colored wall film became gradually transparent, and finally turned into glass-like transparent and pure energy, as if it had been washed away. According to records and experience, this is considered to be the opening of the Sanhua secret realm. Everyone was overjoyed, but no one dared to rush in first. They all looked at the several terrifying auras above their heads. Those few figures were chatting, as if they were talking about their cultivation experience, as if they didn't know anything about the situation. Until 100 years later, a man whose body seemed to be made of black liquid looked slightly towards the secret realm, and said, "The Sanhua secret realm has been opened, everyone should stop talking about it. The treasure in the secret realm is important." Everyone also smiled and nodded in agreement, and then flew into the Sanhua secret realm one by one leisurely, and disappeared. Seeing this situation, everyone dared to rush into it. Although the opening of the Three Flowers secret realm can last for tens of billions of years, most of these people have been waiting for endless years, and they can't wait. Jin Feng also followed in this huge torrent, passed through the transparent wall membrane, and entered the Sanhua secret realm. Step into it. Call. After a whirlwind, Jin Feng looked around. This is a very wide forest, estimated to be about 1,000,000 kilometers across, and there is no one around. It is thought that the Sanhua secret realm spreads the entrance to different places. Why do the rules work so strangely in this kind of place? As soon as Jin Feng entered the secret realm, he felt a strange sense of deviation and familiarity. After careful consideration, his face suddenly changed wildly. This breath. As he said that, Jin Feng took out the flowers and giant trees in the world ring, and hid them 100,000 kilometers underground, carefully contemplating them. I feel right, the aura of the three flowers secret realm is actually somewhat similar to the aura of giant trees and flowers. It's no wonder that this giant tree is so powerful. If it is a treasure produced by the Sanhua secret realm, it can also be explained. Even if the treasures produced by Sanhua's secret realm are not the most powerful treasures, they still have quite terrifying power. Compared with ordinary treasures, they are on a higher level. However, Jin Feng thought of an even stranger question. I remember that you have to be at least the level of the Supreme Master of the universe to master the secrets of space. That is to say, if a native of the secret realm wants to smuggle into the original universe without help, he must at least have the means or strength of the Supreme Master of the universe. It is possible. Because they are not creatures of the original universe, they are very excluded and suppressed by the original will of the universe. But the Soul Map King is obviously just a realm master. How could he get something from another secret realm? Could it be that there are venerables in the chaotic source world? Shaking his head, Jin Feng could only give up thinking about these issues. Quote. Anyway, these are not things I can think about now. Let's go out and hunt for treasure. Quote. Jin Feng settled down. His body turned into a golden rainbow. He broke through the 10,000 Li rock formation in an instant, and went straight to the sky of the world of Sanhua's secret realm, looking around. Let's go to the west. There seem to be peaks and mountains to the west. Jin Feng flew towards the west. Along the way, Jin Feng discovered a lot of indigenous peoples in secret realms. Most of them were apprentices. Few of them could enter the planetary rank, and those who could cultivate to the star rank were already overlords. Most of the human kingdoms along the way it was established by the strong of the stellar rank. After flying for hundreds of years, there is no sign of a treasure being born. Jin Feng was a little helpless. Didn't it mean that in the Sanhua secret realm, even if you walk, you can step on treasures? Why can't I meet any of them? Distraught, Jin Feng turned into a strong blonde man, hiding in a Meijiaohao human city, wandering around at will. This city is called Studer, and it belongs to the property of a star-level powerhouse. It is the most prosperous city within 1,000,000 kilometers. See the bright and exquisite signboard. Jin Feng stepped into a restaurant, ordered a few glasses of wine, and quietly listened to the conversations of the people around him. A man in ragged clothes, with a mysterious expression on his face, boasted to a group of people, "Did you hear that? The Evergold mine under the Bone Conch mountain collapsed again, and many people died." Someone asked puzzledly, "Hasn't the Hengjin mine been hollowed out a long time ago? If it collapses, it will collapse. Why are people still dead?" Some people also sneered. Eternal Gold mine was hollowed out thousands of years ago. Those mines extend to millions of kilometers underground. Such a big deep pit, as long as you step into it, there is a reason for immortality. Report. 85%. Chapter 88. The bottom of the Evergold mine, the second chaotic source world. Luo Feng listened carefully, as if showing great interest in this. That constant gold, he discovered this metal before entering this city. Although Jin Feng identified it at a glance, its rating is at most sea level, and its hardness is relatively average, but it is very strange. It has a special radiation that can easily kill apprentice-level humans. And the radiation of each piece of eternal gold is different, so when several pieces of eternal gold are put together, the radiation produced by them will be entangled and magnified suddenly, and even the radiation produced by only a few pieces of eternal gold is needed. It can easily injure a star-rank powerhouse. When Jin Feng heard the man mention that there was a 1,000,000-kilometer constant gold mine, he couldn't help feeling a little curious. According to common sense, the energy released by the combination of this scale of eternal gold can even make ordinary domain owners dare not come in and out at will, let alone these apprentice-level existences. How can they mine these ores? As the group chatted, Jin Feng gradually understood. It turned out that those miners who collected the Evergold mine would wear a plant on their bodies, which could easily resist the radiation emitted by the eternal gold mine, allowing them to mine these ores that were precious to them. It went on like this for 1,000,000 years, and the Evergold mine was finally emptied and became a huge 040 hollow shell cave, but there was still very strong radiation left, so few people entered it. But just recently, an astonishing explosion sounded suddenly from the abandoned Evergold mine cave, as if someone was mining ore in it again. Immediately afterwards, part of the Evergold mine cave, which had existed for millions of years, collapsed and buried many people who wanted to go in to find out. While drinking, the man proudly said, "Do you know? In fact, the Evergold mine has not been mined at all, and the Lord ordered to stop mining, but there are other reasons." Someone immediately retorted. Again, bragging, if the eternal gold mine hadn't been collected, who would let a mine that can produce eternal gold go unused? Although the Evergold mine is full of radiation, as long as it passes through special places, its radiation will be weakened to an acceptable level. The strength of its sea-level metal is quite attractive to this group of people who are mostly apprentices. Powerful. Therefore, the price of this metal is very expensive, and it is precisely because of this transaction that this city has a considerable flow of people in this kind of place. The man couldn't stand the excitement, and immediately blushed and slapped the table roughly, shouting, "Who is bragging? Let me tell you, you know that I used to be a city defense army, right?" "Of course I know, but what does it have to do with the mine?" someone asked with a cold snort. The man patted his chest. "Before I retired, I participated in an operation. The purpose of that operation was to hunt down a person who had mastered the secret of the mine. Quote. His strength is very weak. We killed him easily, but before he died, he said something. Do you know what it is?" Seeing everyone leaning over their heads, the man smiled triumphantly, lowered the noise, and continued. He said that the Hengjin mine has not actually been collected, and the reason why the Lord wants to close the mine is actually because he encountered something. What? The man spread his hands. Then I don't know. Anyway, that guy died before he finished speaking. Hearing this, Jin Feng couldn't help but his eyes lit up. There is a huge mine next to the city, and within the range of his divine sense, he cannot escape his detection, and he searched it carefully but found nothing unusual. Since the man said that something was dug up and the Lord was forced to stop digging for Hengjin, it means that the energy was not taken away. What kind of thing can escape the detection of a world lord? Definitely nothing. Three Flowers Mystery Realm is really a treasure trove. Could it be that I really bumped into something? Without further ado, Jin Feng paid the bill in a hurry, and then quietly flew towards the mine next to the city. What a strong beach radiation. As soon as he arrived at the mine, Jin Feng felt a strong radiation coming towards him. Just this radiation, I'm afraid it can make some domain masters retreat. Jin Feng nodded, and then quietly sneaked into it. The mine was dug directly below, but within 1,000,000 kilometers, Jin Feng reached the bottom in just one breath. Once under the ground, before Jin Feng remembered to stand still, he heard an angry voice. "Outsiders, you are not welcome here, leave." The sound was like a bell, echoing in the narrow mine pit. Jin Feng was taken aback for a moment, then looked towards one side, and saw a copper puppet in the shape of a centaur roaring at him. This centaur puppet is 10 meters tall, wearing heavy armor and holding a spear. It looks majestic, and it also has the aura of a peak domain master. Normally, with such a strong aura, Jin Feng would be able to detect it instantly from 1,000,000 miles away, but now, even face to face, in Jin Feng's divine sense, this centaur puppet is as fearful as it is. If you don't let your eyes see and your ears hear the sound of the centaur puppet, Jin Feng will even think that it doesn't exist at all. This is too weird. Jin Feng was very surprised. The investigation of divine sense is the most common and practical means of investigation for all the cultivating beings in the universe. For example, to detect life information, to detect surrounding terrain, to detect nearby treasures and so on. Except for illusion and other means, there are very few methods that can distort the investigation. And this centaur puppet, although its strength is not very good, its existence is very strange. Outsiders, this is the border of Hunyuan world, you are not welcome here. The centaur puppet roared angrily, waving spears continuously. It seemed that if Jin Feng's strength was not too terrifying, he might have attacked already. However, upon hearing this name, Jin Feng was extremely surprised. What? Chaotic Source World? What chaotic source world? Could it be that chaotic source world? For some reason, this was the first time Jin Feng had heard the name, chaotic source world. Last time, I heard it from King Soul Picture. But this time, the centaur puppet still said that this is the border of the world of Lianyuan. Is there any connection between these two worlds? But these two secret realms, one big and one small, are even separated by tens of thousands of light years. Its aura is not the same. Jin Feng couldn't help asking. The chaotic source world you mentioned, do you mean this world? Is this world also called the chaotic source world? How did the word Hunyuan come from? But as soon as the words were out of his mouth, the man and horse seemed to have violated a taboo, and immediately roared and rushed forward. Report. 85%. Chapter 89. Guardian Fengmo, the highest realm of practice. Call. The speed of the centaur puppet is incomparably fast. Only the peak of the domain master can explode at the speed of light in an instant. And the spear in his hand, with the strong original law of wind, stabbed fiercely at Jin Feng. This move can even hurt the existence of ordinary world masters. However, Jin Feng is not an ordinary world lord. His life gene level is now as high as 100 times, and his divine power is incomparably thicker. Even if he beats this centaur puppet while standing, he might be exhausted to death. However, in order to ask, Jin Feng still dodged the attack, then turned his hand to hold the spear, and asked, "I ask you what happened to chaotic source world?" Quote. The centaur puppet twitched its hands, wanting to take back the spear, but Jin Feng, even with physical strength, could crush him at will, a small pinnacle domain master, so he had no choice but to give up. Just thinking about throwing away the spear, the centaur puppet was horrified to find that his hands and forelegs were restrained by a thick force of the original law of gold, and he couldn't move at all, and a trace of fear could not help showing in his eyes. Are you still afraid? Very good. It seems that you have given birth to your own wisdom. Seeing the eyes of the puppet, Jin Feng nodded in satisfaction. Puppets will also give birth to wisdom, and it is self-awareness, not the mechanical feedback learned by intelligent AI. Many puppets, etc., may have been discarded for too long, or they may be nourished by divine power, and they will give birth to their own wisdom over time. At this time, they are almost equivalent to 10 real lives. In the primordial universe, there are countless such examples, and there is even a puppet life who has become the lord of the universe, and is revered as the god of Messiah myriad mechanisms. And life, freed from the puppets and acting rigidly according to instructions, has its own thoughts, so it is naturally afraid of death. As long as there is something to be afraid of, it can be a threat. Jin Feng immediately said, "Let's talk about everything you know about chaotic source world." Immediately afterwards, he condensed a long sword with the power of the original law of gold, making it float on the head of the centaur puppet, dangling, and may fall down at any time. The centaur puppet struggled for a while, and after half of its head was cut off by the long sword of law, it became honest and confessed everything it knew. This centaur puppet, named Feng Mo, was a puppet created by a supreme being. At first, it was just a joke, but it was later given to others by that existence as a gift. In the end, after many twists and turns, Feng Mo was sent here as a guard to guard it. Who sent you here? Jin Feng asked. Emperor Fengdu, that is, the cosmic god who is in charge of the entire underworld of Luoyan continent. Feng Mo replied honestly. Cosmic god? What level is the cosmic god? I've never heard of it. Jin Feng asked. After thinking about it for a while, Feng Mo said, anyway, you are very strong, much stronger than you. With your current strength, I am afraid that you are a very prestigious existence in the outside world, right? But in front of Emperor Fengdu, even being beaten, he has no qualifications that he knows. The tone of Feng Mo's speech was not mocking, but more like stating a fact. Then, Feng Mo told Jin Feng the division of realms in their world. Realm God, Heaven and Earth Realm, Pioneering Realm, Master, Void God including Nascent Realm, Unity Realm, and Chaos Realm, and Cosmic God. And on top of this is the Supreme Hunyuan Life, whose power is unfathomable and supreme, and this world is named after the Hunyuan Life. Jin Feng inquired carefully compared the practice methods and strengths of the two systems, and finally came to a conclusion. That is, the World Master basically corresponds to the World God in his mouth, while the World Realm is immortal. Venerable level power opening up level equals universe venerable. Master level power master level equals master of the universe. Void God nascent level equals true God. Void God unity level equals true void God. Void God chaotic state equals eternal true God. Cosmic God equals God King. If you calculate carefully, you will know how terrifying the strength of that practice world is. It turns out that above the strongest in the universe, there are so many realms. And the supreme chaotic source life, what kind of existence is it after all? For a moment, Jin Feng only felt that he couldn't breathe. Originally thought that with the help of the purple vine, he had the combat power of invincible under the universe lord, and he could already wreak havoc in the universe. It can even be called a strong one. Oh one. But, compared with that strong man in Luoyan continent, he is not even as good as a finger. However, on the road of cultivation, Dao Xin is stable. Although Jin Feng was a little hit, he continued to ask, then what border are you guarding? Could it be possible that this place can lead to the Luoyan continent? Feng Mo immediately shook his head and said, Luoyan continent. No, Luoyan continent is in another source world, and it is the center of that Fengyuan world. I was sent here originally to guard a treasure house. Who knows that one day, two chaotic Yuan beings suddenly went to war, smashing a corner of the Fengyuan world, and some spaces were forced to be stripped, and then this Fengyuan world was captured, absorbed, and became the self-blossom secret realm in your mouth. Only then did Jin Feng know the origin of the so-called Sanhua secret realm, and he was deeply shocked. It's no wonder that the treasures produced in the Sanhua secret realm are more powerful than ordinary treasures, that's why. Immediately, a thought suddenly occurred to him. You said you were a puppet guarding a treasure house, and your strength is clearly only at the peak of the domain master. Could it be that there is someone weaker than you in Luoyan continent? In the eyes of the Luoyan mainlanders, the peak domain master is probably no different from the apprentice in the original universe. Hearing this, Feng Mo said angrily, "Don't underestimate me, I am a puppet refined by the cosmic god. I spent countless precious materials. In the Luoyan continent, my strength can be compared to the Void God's Chaos Realm powerhouse, which is what you say the eternal god. Only." Speaking of this, Feng Mo's voice suddenly became weaker, as if he said without confidence, "It's just that I am an outsider myself, and my strength will naturally be suppressed. And after several ages, I don't have the rules of practice, and my cultivation naturally retreats step by step. Now I'm not even a mere world god. It's ridiculous." Speaking of this, Feng Mo let out a long sigh, as if recalling the past. Eternal God. Jin Feng was surprised. Unexpectedly, Feng Mo, the weak puppet in front of him, was actually such a terrifying strong man before. Immediately, Jin Feng asked, "Since a strong man like you is sent to guard it, then the things in this treasure curry must be very extraordinary corpses." Report. 86%. Chapter 90. Feng Mo's request, set off for the continent of origin. After all, he stared straight at Feng Mo. Feng Mo sighed, "Of course it's extraordinary, it's all the treasures of Emperor Fengdu. Although it's not his most important treasure, it's enough to drive an ordinary cosmic god crazy." But, Feng Mo changed the subject and said with a smile, "But your calculation is wrong. I said before that after Fang Yuan's world was broken, countless spaces were broken into pieces. And the treasure house I was guarding, and the gate I was guarding were also broken into two pieces. Half of it, that is, my world, has turned into what you call the Sanhua secret realm. The other half, according to my observation, it has been captured and absorbed by the continent of origin in your source world, and it has become a secret place in it." Continent of origin. 500. Jin Feng's heart trembled slightly. Since Luo Feng, the strongest human being, went to reincarnation, the existence of origin continent has also been known to everyone. Everyone only knows that it is a very powerful place, with countless strong people, but they don't know where it exists and what kind of existence it is. Although I'm not very strong, I also know that only after the strength of the origin continent has reached the level of a true god can I be reincarnated to break through. Those true gods who have lived for 3 ages and are about to reach the end of their lives go to reincarnation, and most of their souls will be annihilated in an instant. There may not be one in a million who can successfully reach the continent of origin. Only the strong among the strong can break through reincarnation, reach the continent of origin, reincarnate, and live another life. True God. How far away from me? Just when Jin Feng was disappointed, Feng Mo said suddenly, "Actually, you don't need to be discouraged, I still know a way to the origin continent, but I have one condition." Method. Condition. Jin Feng was taken aback for a moment, then ecstatically, but he became cautious again. With the knife resting on his neck, Jin Feng could kill him at any time, but this Feng Mo was negotiating terms. Compared with him, he is also desperate, and regards this condition as more important than his life. Thinking of this, Jin Feng said, "You tell me, if I think it's not feasible, I will immediately refuse, you have to think about it first." Feng Mo shook his head and said with a smile, "You don't have to be nervous, in fact my condition is very simple, that is to save me out. I'm not talking about this mine, but about this secret place." Jin Feng hesitated for a while, and finally sighed, "I understand, you have been born with wisdom, but you still can't break the restriction set by helping others. You can only guard for several ages alone, and you can't get rid of it, so you want me to throw you away. However, let's not mention that bringing the indigenous life to the original universe requires means at the level of a venerable. Just to break the restriction on you, it is estimated that there are not many people in our original universe who are competent." Feng Mo replied, "I don't ask you to rescue me immediately, I just ask you to do your best. As long as you come to rescue me after reaching the level where you can take me out, it will not be considered a breach of the oath. Besides, I'm just giving you a hint, and it's nothing." Immediately, Jin Feng nodded in agreement. At their level, Dao Xin is very important. Breaking the oath, unless it is the kind of born bad, who takes deceit and tricks as a routine, will generally leave a lump in the bottom of my heart. Although it seems to have no effect, God knows what will happen one day because of the unsatisfactory mood. Moreover, if Jin Feng really had that kind of strength, it would be a matter of little effort for Jin Feng to take Feng Mo out. Thinking of this, Jin Feng nodded easily in agreement. And Feng Mo also breathed a sigh of relief, and said his method, our world, because of the attack of chaotic source life, has created many space channels that cannot be healed. As for our world fragments, although most of them are separated by infinite distances, they are genetically identical, so they can be transmitted between these space channels. As long as you find those space passages, you can easily go to the secret realm of the continent of origin. Space channel. Jin Feng froze, then suddenly remembered something, made a promise to Feng Mo, and left in a hurry. This time, he didn't wander around the Sanhua secret realm looking for treasures, but went directly to the exit, and even encountered a treasure on the way. He didn't stop there. After leaving the Three Flowers secret realm, Jin Feng drove straight towards one side, and even summoned the clone of the purple vine on the way to speed up the journey. Therefore, in less than 100 years, Jin Feng rushed back to the Fengdu star area he was familiar with, and when he saw the crack across the top of the star observation tower, he went straight in without asking anything else. Came to the stellar battlefield, followed the established route, and entered that side of the immortal crystal world. Immediately, Jin Feng rushed all the way to the place where King Huntu was found that day, looked at the big hole in the ground that was filled with dangerous aura, and nodded immediately. That's right, this so-called Fengdu secret realm is actually just a fragment of the Luoyan continent, so the natives born in it are called the Hunyuan world, and they are probably born to worship the supreme Hunyuan being. Therefore, it is not unusual to have so many immortal crystals. Compared to the power to create the universe at will, what are these immortal crystals? There are also those flowers and giant trees, which are probably also native plants of Luoyan continent. This hole is the channel that can be sent. I see. Most of the doubts in Jin Feng's heart were explained. Looking at the hole in front of him, Jin Feng suddenly turned his hand and took out a seed of the endless tree, poured his divine power to push it to a height of about 10 meters, and then threw it straight into it. The avatar is connected to the consciousness of the deity, and Jin Feng can feel that the incarnation of the endless tree has gone to a very distant place in an instant, and he can only maintain a slight connection. The aura of this place does not match the aura of the continent of origin provided by Feng 1.1 demon, it is not here. Jin Feng clapped his hands, marked it as an explored location, and then flew around to investigate. In this immortal crystal space, there are quite a lot of similar big holes, and Jin Feng searched very meticulously, and put an incarnation of the endless tree into each hole for him to explore. And so after 100 years, at the entrance of the first hole, Dr. Jin Feng threw a 10-meter high endless tree incarnation into the entrance of the cave, and he was planning to leave, but the breath that came from him made Jin Feng immediately feel ecstatic. This, quote. This breath is the continent of origin. No, it should be said to be the breath from a certain secret realm in the continent of origin. Very good. Report. 86%. Chapter 91. Go to the origin continent, the terrifying Hunyuan life. Immediately, with a thought, Jin Feng threw an incarnation of an endless tree on the edge of the hole, and then he jumped into the hole, feeling the darkness in front of him, and the sky spinning. This is the transmission channel. It looks similar to a wormhole, but these channels are exposed to the outside world. Jin Feng looked around, only feeling shocked in his heart. The passage is a tubular space with a small diameter, less than 100 light years, but the road ahead is very far away, extending to the limit of Jin Feng's exploration. Looking back, Jin Feng saw the whole picture of the primordial universe, and he was shocked. The primordial universe is too huge. Even in the sea of universes, the primordial universe is still the largest universe. Those so-called true gods, holy places of eternal true gods, universes created by other great powers, and even other universes are far from being comparable to the original universe, or even smaller than 1/1000th of it. It is said that the origin continent is more spectacular and shocking than the original universe. I don't know what kind of scene it will be. Gathering his mind, Jin Feng continued to fly forward. Hoo-hoo. The endless gray-white chaotic airflow dances freely in this channel space, like spirit snakes. Each chaotic airflow can kill an immortal being in an instant, and even true gods must be careful to avoid it. Fortunately, the chaotic airflow was not too much, and its moving speed was very slow, so Jin Feng's life was not in great danger. But just as he was flying forward at 100 times the speed of light, his heart suddenly trembled. The combat experience he had developed over the years gave him an alarm, and he immediately stopped and looked up. I saw a huge snake-like beast slowly wriggling forward from above. This beast is huge in size. With Jin Feng's vision, he was also extremely surprised. He had never seen such a huge beast. That giant snake, just a single scale, is more than 1 million light years away. And that pair of vertical pupils is more powerful than hundreds of millions of large star regions. Even if Jin Feng can't appreciate its whole picture, he can estimate that the size of this snake is bigger than that of the original universe. I'm afraid that this giant snake and beast can easily shatter that primordial universe with just a little force. My God, what level of creature is this? True God, eternal true God. No, no, no. This kind of existence has already escaped the scope of the original universe. In other words, this is a chaotic source life. Jin Feng was shaking with excitement. The first time I left the primordial universe, I met a chaotic source life. According to Fengmo, although Origin Continent is powerful, chaotic source life is extremely rare. Few people can witness the elegance of chaotic source life with their own eyes. Jin Feng was lucky. As for the giant snake, although it was huge in size, it moved very quickly, and it disappeared in front of Jin Feng in the blink of an eye. It seemed that it didn't notice Jin Feng's existence, and it only glanced slightly curiously at the huge primordial universe. With one glance, it flew away. Looking at the figure of the giant snake going away, Jin Feng secretly decided in his heart, I can also become a strong person at this level. After all, the speed of flying towards the Origin Continent has been accelerated a bit. 10,000 years later, in the endless passage space, two figures, one big and one small, carried Chenghong forward and moved forward at 100 times the speed of light. Sudden, Jin Feng, who was sitting on the purple vine avatar, suddenly opened his eyes and looked forward happily. Arrive. In front of his eyes, a transparent wall membrane appeared, only 1 million kilometers away from them. With a thought in Jin Feng's mind, he urged the clone of the purple vine, and bumped into it. Call. The scene changed suddenly. Jin Feng's figure appeared in a vast world. The rules of the world are so primitive and strong. Jin Feng felt the world carefully, and his heart was extremely shocked. Is this the strength of Origin Continent? Even the will of the world is so violent. Different from the original universe, the laws of heaven and earth and the will of the world in the continent of origin are stronger, more primitive, and stronger. It's no wonder that this area can produce so many strong people. The laws of heaven and earth and the will of the primordial universe come down after being covered up, like a sword blade wrapped in a scabbard and linen. Although it is sharp, it generally does not hurt people. And the rules of the continent of origin, like a giant axe. It is directly exposed to the air, as if it can be picked at will. But only those who have tried it know that this is simply impossible, because the will of the world will stop those who do it. Only by concentrating on comprehension like the original universe can one be rewarded and master the fifth rule. In this way, in the origin continent, even if you comprehend the laws of heaven and earth, there will be certain risks, because these forces are directly exposed to the air, and if you are not careful, it will cause an explosion. Jin Feng sighed a little. In the primordial universe, even weak domain masters can comprehend the rules at will without worrying about the danger of their lives. And in this place, even such a simple action can cause people to be injured or even fall. In other words, the world masters born on the continent of origin are more powerful than the world masters of the original universe, and they have a deeper understanding of the laws. Jin Feng was sighing 057, when suddenly his mind moved, and a bold idea appeared in his mind. My clone of the endless tree, the first talent is devour. Even the sword marks of the venerable and the power of other people's laws can be devoured. The power of these laws is exposed in the air, so can I. Thinking of this, Jin Feng felt his blood rushing to his heart. He took out an endless tree seed and threw it on a mountain peak. Immediately after, he mobilized his divine power to grow it to a height of 100 meters. Immediately afterwards, Jin Feng cast his will on this incarnation, and activated the first talent, devour. Hoo-hoo. In the air, the power of 8 different laws are intertwined with each other. The power of the 8 original laws of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder and lightning, light, space, and time, unexpectedly emerged a law vortex with a diameter of less than 100 meters in the sky above the incarnation of the endless tree. In the vortex, the power of the 8 original laws began to entangle like a mixed liquid. The berserk power started to bubble and burst in midair like boiling. Every time the liquid flowed, the surrounding space would be broken, repaired, and finally broken again, and so on. I won't get into a big disaster, will I? Jin Feng looked at the midair, dumbstruck. Report. 86%. Chapter 92. Vortex of Power of Law, Mysterious Gray Gas. Those powers are entangled together to form a vortex of laws, and the power hidden in it, Jin Feng just glanced at it, and felt terrified. Even if this kind of breath is leaked, I'm afraid it will kill me, and the surrounding hundreds of light years will return to nothingness. I just want to try to absorb the power of the law in the air. Why did it cause such a disaster? The 8 different powers in the vortex, could it be the 8 original principles? Jin Feng was extremely surprised. Just as he was dazed, the boiling and entangled liquid in the vortex seemed to have a result and began to merge with each other. In the vortex, the originally abundant power of law gradually dried up under continuous fusion. In the end, only a trace of off-white gas was generated, which penetrated into the endless tree and turned into a guard. This is. Jin Feng sneaked into his mind, feeling the body of the incarnation of the endless tree. What kind of power is this? What a terrifying breath. What I absorbed should be the power of law. Is this also a kind of law? Jin Feng transferred the gray-white gas into the space inside his body, and then stared at it to observe. This off-white gas. The aura was very terrifying, and the faint power emitted made the aura of the sword marks of the venerable who had been wandering around the clone of the endless tree collapse and flee, as if they had seen some terrifying scene. Jin Feng has already refined it and can drive it at will, but he also feels very amazing. If this gas is used to deal with myself, I don't even need to use its power. The breath alone can instantly annihilate my soul and turn my body into nothingness. What kind of power is this? Jin Feng looked at this gray-white gas, but he was helpless. He has this energy, just like a mortal who doesn't have a first-order apprentice, but he doesn't have the power to kill immortals. Forget it, since it can be refined by me, it can be regarded as a method, so why should I worry too much about it? Thinking of this, Jin Feng put away his mind and glanced at the incarnation of the endless tree. Why don't you try refining the way again? As soon as this idea came out, Jin Feng shook his head. No, this kind of thing is too dangerous, who knows that it will be successful just now, is it luck? Once something goes wrong, my life will be gone. Although there is an avatar, it is impossible to really die, but many resources and purple vines around Jin Feng are hard to get back. Is this the secret realm that Feng Mo talked about? I have to find the treasure house, he said first, and then go all the way to the real origin of the minister of the continent. Thinking of this, Jin Feng took out a map and looked it over carefully. This map was given to him by Feng Mo, which is the map route of the corner of the original source world, including everything in this secret realm. I am now in the Tianmo mountain range, I should go this way. Jin Feng revealed the clone of the purple vine, and then flew towards one side. Along the way, Jin Feng discovered many tyrannical auras in this secret realm. Most of them are the kings, and some of them are no different from the breath of the master who once saw the universe. It's too powerful. With my strength, I can't be so high profile. Thinking of this, Jin Feng suddenly stopped, and then took out a cave in a mountain peak, and began to retreat in it. I have to seize the time to break through immortality, otherwise I am afraid I will encounter many dangers if I run amok on the continent of origin with this meager strength. The origin of the mainland is too exaggerated. According to what Feng Mo said, it observes the continent of origin, and the country with the God King, trains soldiers, generally, immortal, as sergeants. As for the sergeant, as long as he grows up and sharpens a little bit, he can become the lord of the universe. And there are very few who become the master of the universe, and there may not necessarily be 1 out of a billion, and they can already be regarded as serious powerhouses. True God, even less. And Jin Feng thought that he had achieved a small amount of cultivation, but he hadn't even reached the lowest average standard of origin continent. So first of all, he had to retreat and break through. For every life in the universe, practice is like crossing barriers. For example, if the world master breaks through immortality, it is a gap and a natural moat. Many lives are blocked by this barrier, and even stuck there for a lifetime, unable to break through. But Jin Feng does not have this barrier. There are generally 2 routes for realm breakthroughs. One is the rule of law. Once you understand the laws and master the power of the laws, you can get the rewards of the original universe, expand your body, master more power, and so on. For example, at the world master level, one generally has a deeper understanding of a certain low-level source of law, and even at the peak level is recognized by the source of the law, and begins to have a preliminary understanding of the upper-level source of law. Immortal existence, comprehend a certain low-level original law, and gradually comprehend the corresponding upper-level original law. Feng Hu immortal, have a deeper comprehension of the superior origin law, and have been recognized by the superior origin law. Feng Wang immortal, began to comprehend the 3 mysteries of the superior original law, such as the blockade, strangulation, and teleportation of the space law. Feng Wanggao usually realizes 1 kind, Feng Wangfeng usually realizes 2 kinds, Feng Wangji generally realizes all. The universe venerable is divided into the space venerable who has successfully integrated the 3 space mysteries and fully comprehended the laws of space, and the time venerable who has fully comprehended the law of time, and at least comprehended one of the corresponding lower original laws. The Lord of the universe fully comprehends the laws of space and time, at least comprehends one of the corresponding lower-level original laws, or understands and integrates a certain lower-level law with the corresponding upper-level law. But there is another method, that is, divine power root. Strengthen the multiplier of the life gene level, perfect the physical and spiritual body of this Li Deshao, the stronger the multiplier of the life gene level, the stronger the strength. Generally speaking, taking the divine power root is more difficult than the law root, but it is also more powerful. Because unless some special beings, as well as the top true gods, have a way to practice and enhance the genetic level of life, other races have no other way to actively practice the genetic level. Only at the time of breakthrough, occasionally the original will of the universe will reward the life gene level enhancement feather. Therefore, there are very few people who take the root of divine power. And Luo Feng, the strongest human being, is a strong man who takes the root of divine power. He has the 9 Tribulations secret code, created by the God King of Jin, which can enhance the genetic level of life. And for Jin Feng, the so-called barriers on the way of life practice do not exist at all. There is an infinite tree clone. As long as there is enough energy source, it can increase the life gene level infinitely. Report, 86%. Chapter 93. Retreating for hundreds of millions of years and leaving the customs, the king is immortal. In other words, as long as Jin Feng devotes himself to practice, he will be able to make continuous breakthroughs without hindrance. But if you really only concentrate on practicing, it will take a very long time. Even if an era is over, it is very likely that Jin Feng will not be able to reach the corresponding realm, and will not be able to step into the realm of the Master of the Universe, and thus, together with others, will die in the great destruction of the original universe. Moreover, the energy required to cultivate the genetic level of life is really too huge. The farther you go, the more amazing the energy needed is. At this point, every time Jin Feng wants to double the growth of the purple vine, the energy needed exceeds the energy of a star. What Jin Feng is still worried about is, will the hidden treasure curry be taken away during this period of time? But after thinking about it, that Feng Mo said that he didn't know how many epochs he had been absorbed in that primordial universe, and it was not too short of time. Now Jin Feng is only the world master, and the time required for practice is not particularly exaggerated. In this way, Jin Feng began to immerse himself in practice. Even in another universe far away, all the incarnations of the Endless Tree are doing their best to provide energy areas for Feng's practice. 10 billion years later, boom, a huge golden figure shattered a mountain range hundreds of millions of kilometers high, and floated straight into the air, with 2 huge eyes staring at the surroundings, as if in nostalgia. 10 billion years. I finally broke through the immortality of the king through the root of divine power. Jin Feng opened his mouth deeply, and following his voice, a purple vine that spanned the sky and the earth suddenly shot straight into the sky. Its length was 1,000,000 kilometers high, and it exuded a tyrannical aura that made people chill. Today's Jin Feng, the strength is the immortal king. The level of life genes is 10,587 times, which can easily kill the top universe venerables, and even the general masters of the universe are not their opponents. And the purple vine clone is even more exaggerated, devouring most of the energy during the practice period. The strength is the early stage of the universe venerable, but the life gene level has reached a shocking 52,871. In front of the purple vine clone, even the 6th level top universe master can be killed at will. As for the existence of true gods, although it is not easy to kill them, they are definitely invincible among them. In the face of the true god of the void, although he cannot be shaken, it can be said to be a piece of cake to save his life from his attack. This is the horror of the divine power root, BJFD. The higher the level of life genes, the stronger the power used. Not to mention that Jin Feng's divine body is extremely terrifying now. Generally, the king is immortal, and the body of the god is only a few hundred kilometers high. But now Jin Feng's divine body is hundreds of millions of kilometers away. Not to mention the purple vine clone. Even if it is forced to consume divine power, the average master of the universe may have to retreat 3 feet when seeing such a huge divine body. The god is big, which means it is extremely difficult to kill. No one wants to burn the divine body by himself, and with one blow, the opponent's divine body is only scratched. My current strength, even in Origin Continent, I believe I have the strength to go sideways, right? Jin Feng looked around and smiled with satisfaction. For him, practicing for hundreds of millions of years is really too difficult, and he had only lived for hundreds of thousands of years before. As soon as he left the customs now, his heart was full of fighting spirit, and he wanted to find someone to fight well. Walk. With a movement of Jin Feng's figure, he disappeared in place immediately. Is this secret realm still closed now? Why are there only a few indigenous lives with very ordinary auras? Where are the powerful auras that were explored hundreds of millions of years ago? Jin Feng was flying in the sky while looking down. The life in the secret realm is weaker than the life in the continent of origin, and most of them are born at the level of world masters. After a little practice, 3 adults can break through immortality, and there are very few who can become the lord of the universe. Although compared to the original universe, it is quite powerful, but to the current Jin Feng, it is like a group of ants, which can be killed at will. But he is not a bloodthirsty person, and he doesn't bother to fight with these people. According to the route on the map, and now that the Purple Vine avatar has also realized the law of space, Jin Feng can teleport a large distance every once in a while, and arrive at a swamp in less than 100 years. Finally here is the swamp of 5 sentences, and the location of the treasure house is also at the edge of the swamp of 5 sentences. I just need to follow the edge of the swamp to find it. Jin Feng was overjoyed, and searched bit by bit along the edge of the swamp. Suddenly, Jin Feng seemed to have found something on the edge of a swamp, and immediately went to investigate. What is this? A treasure. When Jin Feng saw the edge of the swamp, a mound about 100 miles high was rising. The mound was sprayed with colorful light, emitting a very strong aura. There was a long sword-like existence, revealing half of the sword handle. This is the birth of the treasure. Jin Feng thought about it, and finally realized it. And look at this aura, it should be the most powerful treasure, that is, the true weapon of God. This secret realm is really rich, and you can even pick up the most powerful treasures if you just wander around. Jin Feng smiled slightly. True God weapon, for him now, although it is not a big help, it is also a fortune. Resources, wherever they go, are very important. Although ordinary things are nothing to Jin Feng, there are more fetishes such as sapphire cold essence, compared to the continent of origin, and they also require a huge amount of resources in exchange. This supreme treasure is also something that is very cherished on the continent of origin. After all, although most adults are immortal, if you want to step into the true God, it is not much easier in this continent of origin than in the original universe. Jin Feng was about to get the sword, but suddenly there was a roar, accompanied by a light blade, which forced Jin Feng to stop his movements. Go away, this is my treasure. An astonishing aura came along with the huge figure of Beilagao burning raging fire. That figure was a strange beast, its whole body was covered with golden flames, and it was holding a trident in its hand. Its whole body was extremely fierce, violent and surly. Immortal King. HMPH. Seeing the aura emanating from Jin Feng, the strange beast immediately snorted coldly in disdain, waved its wings, stood in front of Jin Feng, and couldn't help but condense a light blade again and waved it out. According to his understanding, he is an existence at the level of the Universe Lord, he can be crowned immortal, and he can be killed with a flip of his hand. And this random blow, although it is less than 1/10 of his usual attack, but it is still easy to kill a little Fengwang immortal. Report. 87%. Chapter 94. Fighting against the true gods together, the purple vine will show its power. Boom. Facing the oncoming light blade, Jin Feng just squeezed it casually, and returned it to nothingness, then looked at the strange beast venerable, and couldn't help but curiously said, "Look at the breath, you don't seem to be alive in this secret realm, is it true that you are not alive? Didn't it come from the mainland of origin? HMPH, aren't you? This secret realm is very barren and resources are scarce. How rare is it to cultivate a venerable? Unlike in the origin continent, there are venerables everywhere." The strange beast snorted coldly, apparently considering Jinfeng as an existence in the origin continent. After all, it is only at the immortal level, which can resist the venerable's casual blow. Although there are many in the origin continent, it is difficult to up. And Jin Feng's breath seems to be a bit different from your origin continent, and he didn't care about it. After all, there are many strong people from various universes in the origin continent, so it's nothing to have a different breath. Immediately, the 2 pairs of wings of the strange beast waved, fanned out endless golden flames, and roared, "I said, that Xian Zunbao is mine, get out of here." The endless flames are like a billowing ocean, and when they hit Jinfeng, they carried infinite power. In this blow, a venerable has already exerted all his strength. Even if it is an existence of the same level, in the face of its power, it must retreat for the time being, otherwise it will be injured. But Jin Feng looked at the rolling sea of flames, but he didn't hide or give in, he stood straight on the spot, his eyes were calm as if nothing happened. This kid, could it be that he was frightened crazy? Seeing Jin Feng's expression and movements, the strange animal just found it inconceivable. Ordinary beings face attacks, even if they know that they must die, they will try their best to struggle and show a desperate look. And Jin Feng in front of him. It seemed that what was attacking was just a mosquito. Then, under the shocked eyes of the strange beast, Jin Feng gently stretched out a palm. Then, the vast sea of golden flames stopped thousands of kilometers away from Jinfeng, as if it had been frozen. The originally violent golden ocean, as if tamed, not only calmed down, but also dissipated at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, it turned into nothingness and disappeared between heaven and earth. What is the situation? He is just an immortal. How is it possible? The strange beast was terrified, and an ominous premonition arose in his heart. Could it be that this is a genius from a certain big country? Yes, it must be so. I've heard that the geniuses cultivated by those kingdoms with god kings are all extremely powerful, and even in the immortal stage, they can fight against the venerable. The one in front of you is jealous in comparison. Although I don't have his strength, it is very difficult to provoke the existence behind him. Thinking of this, strange beast snorted coldly. You are amazing, I will let you have this most powerful treasure, but even though you have taken the treasure, don't even try to keep it. The breadth of the birth of the treasure is incomparably vast, and someone has already rushed here. After finishing speaking, he waved his wings and left. Hearing this, Jin Feng also felt it. Countless tyrannical auras came towards him, obviously attracted by the fluctuation of the birth of the treasure. He couldn't help speeding up his movements and grabbed the treasure. What? It's not fully born yet. Jin Feng looked at the long sword that was halfway out, feeling anxious in his heart. Among those rushing auras, there is a true god. I, the Jin Yang giant beast deity, have just turned my hand against the Lord of the Universe, and I also have a battle experience against the Lord of the Universe. But facing the true god, it is still too reluctant. Violet, call out. The clone of the purple vine up to 1,000,000 kilometers suddenly appeared between the sky and the earth, as if it wanted to dye this space purple, and its aura was extremely violent. Today's purple vine has a life gene level as high as 52,871 times. The ordinary master of the universe can be killed with a single breath. In the face of the peak true god, although it is difficult to kill him, he can also be trampled at will. It can be called the invincible existence among the true gods. Countless tyrannical auras flew over, and in the blink of an eye, hundreds of figures entered within 1,000,000 kilometers. The purple vine clone let out a roar. Get out of here, this is my treasure. Leave. The sound was like rolling thunder, reaching the ears of those strong people, which shocked them. Seeing this, a group of universe masters couldn't help but stop and discuss. What is the origin of this plant life? Is the breath very strong? The aura is just the early stage of the venerable, why can it have such a strong strength? Seeking flowers 0. HMPH. We are all lords of law, lords of the universe, you see, there are still gods coming around, just a venerable plant life, are you afraid? That's right, it's nothing more than a venerable person, no matter how strong he is, where can he go? Let's go together. Take the Xeon and Xeon. Hoo. Hundreds of figures shot together, and the tyrannical aura made the whole world change color. Among these figures, the weakest one is also the venerable universe, and the powerful one even has more than a dozen true gods. They all sensed the powerful aura of the purple vine, and they came out to it together by coincidence. A long rainbow came towards the purple vine with the breath of destruction. And a giant golden beast standing on the purple vine looked at all this with cold eyes, and sneered, it's all courting death. 0.00. Shish. The purple vines let those attacks hit their bodies, but they couldn't even cover their skin, and waved thousands of vines, hitting groups of figures. Boom. Snapped. The purple vine's attack is extremely fast. Those who think that although the plant life is huge, but the realm is only a noble, so people who can't guard against it, they will be caught off guard by the vines, and their gods will be annihilated in an instant. In just an instant, hundreds of universe masters and countless universe venerables were killed by Nixia. At this time, people finally panicked. What kind of monster is this? Why is this vine so fast? It's such a powerful force. This vine didn't even use its divine power. It can kill the Lord of the Universe in an instant just by relying on its physical strength. Too strong. Run. I am already a true god, why do I have to work so hard to face a plant? If I continue, I'm afraid I will perish too. Could it be, what is the origin of this plant life? It's just a true god's weapon, that's all, let's try again look for it. I'll run first. Every strike of the purple vine can take away the life of a strong person, and even make those real people miserable. After receiving a few tricks, the true gods felt as if their divine bodies were about to burst, and lost most of their divine bodies. Before the purple vine showed its power, they hurriedly burned their divine bodies, fled to one side, and disappeared without a trace. Report. 87%. Chapter 95. Shocking the heavenly gods, entering the treasure house of Emperor Fengdu. In an instant, hundreds of masters of the universe were beheaded, and dozens of true gods were seriously injured and fled. This is the power of divine power flow. The higher the level of the life gene, the stronger the divine power, body, and soul, and can even break the law with force. Even if the law is not comprehended enough, it can directly improve the realm. Why is this plant life so powerful? Run. Let's go, we are not opponents at all. It's just a true weapon, it won't risk your life. Saying that, the group of besieged people fled in a hurry when they saw this, and disappeared after a while. While Jin Feng looked at these people, he didn't chase after them. Extreme treasure. Jin Feng turned his head, pulled out the long sword, and observed it carefully. Sensing the message from the long sword, Jin Feng nodded in satisfaction at 690. This sword, originally called Beishuan, is a top-notch and powerful treasure. It happens to be the attribute of the original law of gold that I fit, and it has 88 directions of secret lines. Once the 880,000 secret lines are activated at the same time, the power is infinite, and it can even kill ordinary true gods with one blow. Great for me. As a giant Jin Yang beast, Jin Feng was born with the law of dual attributes of gold and fire. Although normally Jin Yang is in the form of a giant beast, when transformed into a human form, Jin Feng will also use weapons such as long swords. For this reason, he has also practiced swordsmanship for a period of time. This Xian Zunbao Beishuan sword is also very suitable for him. However, what Jin Feng wants most is naturally a domain-like or palace-like Xian, such as the colorful Aurora Lake of the ancestral god sect, or the Star Tower of Luofeng. He himself does not lack defense. The purple vine clone can easily resist any attack from below the true god of the void, and the attack method, the purple vine clone can also easily seriously injure the existence of a true god. Therefore, what Jin Feng wanted was to make up for his lack of speed and movement. For example, just now, if the speed of the dozen or so true gods was not too fast, the purple vine avatar could kill them instantly on the spot. The divine body of the purple vine clone is too big, so that it is very troublesome to move. This is also one of the few shortcomings of divine power flow. After some lives practice with a higher life gene level multiple, the spiritual body will become too large and it is difficult to move. For example, today's purple vine avatar, although its strength is invincible at the true god level, and can even escape from the hands of the void true god, but its speed is too slow compared to the real true god. The true god powerhouse can open up a time acceleration space 10,000 times in the small universe, and the teleportation speed exceeds 120 million times the speed of light. And even in the outside world, the general flying speed can exceed 1,000,000 times the speed of light. But today's purple vine avatar, the flying speed is only 10,000 times the speed of light, and Jin Feng is even slower. Those true gods didn't dare to be presumptuous in front of the purple vine clone at all, but as long as they didn't touch the attack range of the purple vine clone, it was very easy to save their lives. And with the domain type Xions and treasures, or the palace type Xions and treasures. The most powerful domain type treasure can completely restrain the actions of any true god, slowing down its speed to 1/10,000th of the original speed. And the palace type treasure is even more inconceivable. It can make the purple vine clone explode at a speed of 100 million times. With one of these two most powerful treasures, Jin Feng can easily kill those 10 or so true gods just now. Xions are rare enough. Even in this continent of origin where the strong are like clouds, it is the same. True gods are still very rare. It is possible to refine true god weapons that are very difficult to destroy even the void gods, less. Among all the treasures, the rarest and most powerful domains and palaces are extremely rare. Therefore, Jin Feng just thinks a little bit, and doesn't have too much vision. After collecting all the world rings of the Lord of the Universe, Jin Feng randomly checked and lost interest. Most of them are some equipment, resources and the like. For Jin Feng, it is useless. Let's look for the treasure house. Jin Feng set his sights on the edge of the swamp, searching patiently. In this way, in less than 10,000 years, Jin Feng was on the edge of a swamp, discovered the faint tremor of space. Right here, Jin Feng was overjoyed, and hurried forward. According to the method taught by Feng Mo, he aroused his divine power, and extended one piece after another of space secret patterns according to the established method. It's such a powerful sealing method. My current divine power is vast and boundless, but it still feels a bit difficult to supply the gate of this treasure house. It's hard to imagine how terrifying the existence of the great power that created this sealing was. Quote, Jin Feng's current behavior is like opening a door with a key, but even this simple action makes it difficult for him who is now comparable to ordinary true gods. Opened. Finally, there was a soft sound in the space, and then hundreds of millions of secret lines stretched out, enveloping Jin Feng in an instant. After a slight buzzing, Jin Feng's figure disappeared. Field. This is the treasure house. Jin Feng felt a buzzing in his head, and then he shook his head, then recovered and looked around. This so-called treasure house is not a large space filled with many treasures as imagined, but a study that looks very simple. The study room is not big, only a dozen square meters, and the furnishings are quite simple, a desk. There are a few stools and chairs, a picture hanging on the wall, a bookshelf on the left, which is full of ordered books, and besides that, there is a copper stove in the center of the room, and the incense on it is still burning. This kind of dress is very similar to some common styles. Jin Feng nodded secretly, although he said so, but he did not let go of his guard. The treasury of a mighty person is absolutely impossible to be so simple. Sure enough, Jin Feng was first attracted by the copper furnace. 2.2. What kind of stove is this? What kind of incense? According to Feng Mo, he guarded this treasure house for endless years, and after being absorbed into the original universe, there are tens of thousands of epochs. After such a long time, unless it is a weapon that has already given birth to a true spirit, such as Xian Zunbao, everything should be exhausted. Jin Feng released his divine thoughts and wanted to check, but he was instantly shaken away by the copper furnace, and the trace of spiritual thoughts was instantly wiped out. Sure enough, I'm afraid these incenses also have something special. Thinking this way, Jin Feng guided some smoke into his body, and he really only felt that his soul was a little bit more stable amidst the turbulence of the Sea of Qi. Good stuff. I just refined it a little bit, and my soul can be stabilized. It's amazing. Report. 87%. Chapter 96. Boundary-breaking teleportation, void clone. Jin Feng was overjoyed. In terms of resources, he has no shortage at all. Even if there is no endless immortal crystal space, he can directly absorb a lot of divine power by spreading the incarnation of the endless tree, but it will take a lot of risks to do so. And what Jin Feng wanted the most, besides the treasures, were these rare objects. For example, the sapphire cold marrow, in the period of the domain master. How amazing it is to cleanse the soul. And the smoke from this copper furnace actually has the same effect. Even for Jin Feng's current state, the benefits are great, it is simply a magic weapon. But what troubled Jin Feng was that even though he tried his best, the copper stove had no intention of being included in the world ring by him at all. In desperation, Jin Feng had to look for other treasures. This painting is quite extraordinary. Jin Feng looked at the painting on the wall. It was a portrait of a human woman. This woman is snake-tailed, holding a multicolored godstone in her left hand, and blocking a crack in the sky with her right hand. Is this a great power in that world? 19. It's really terrifying to be able to do something like repair the universe. Jin Feng continued to look at the things around him. There doesn't seem to be anything fantastic about the table and chairs, it's just very hard. But this bookshelf. Jin Feng looked at the bookshelf, pulled out a book at random, glanced at it casually, his eyes were blank, as if his soul had been sucked dry. What kind of secret technique is this? Boundary-breaking teleportation. Void Road. This Void Dao is obviously a space one, but why can this Void Dao practice avatar? There is also this extreme blur. The more he looked at it, the more shocked Jin Feng became. Of the two books in his hand, one is called Boundary-Breaking Teleportation Technique, which is a secret technique created by a chaotic source of life. Once this big breaking teleportation technique is practiced successfully, then you can freely shuttle in various source worlds. How big is a source world? Even the existence of the cosmic god mentioned by Feng Mo, it is still impossible to know. The primordial universe, in the eyes of tiny ants, is extremely wide, almost infinitely wide. And comparing this primordial universe with the source world, it is like an ant observing the primordial universe, almost endless in sight. And such a secret technique actually travels through the source world. What a horror! However, Jin Feng looked at the conditions of practice and sighed. The practice conditions of this great boundary-breaking teleportation technique are too exaggerated. It actually needs to be above the void and reach the second level of the cosmic god, which is the peak of the holy ruler. For me, it's out of reach. Jin Feng continued to look at the next cheat book. This book is called Void Clone Technique. Avatar Talent. Many people in the original universe have it, and I have it too. But these avatar talents are all rewarded by the original will of the universe. For example, the lives in the universe C don't have avatar talents. According to what Feng Mo said, there are very few powerhouses with avatars in Origin Continent. No one has ever heard of it. It is simply shocking to be able to cultivate a clone. Jin Feng carefully comprehended the way of cultivation, and secretly admired it. Spaced together, you can actually cultivate a clone. It's really unheard of, and it's very ingenious. First, break open the essence of space, absorb the origin of the universe from the outer world, and exercise the soul in order to perform the avatar technique. This avatar technique is not the same as the avatar talent of our original universe. The avatar talent is to select genes other than one deity, and then cultivate its other racial avatars. And this void avatar technique is to cultivate other avatars that are the same as the deity. But both of them have one thing in common. As long as one clone survives, it won't really die. It's amazing. A little shock flashed in Jin Feng's eyes. Looking at the other books on the bookshelf, he couldn't help reaching out, wanting to take out a few more books. But the moment his hand touched the bookcase, he was bounced off by a black light, as if it was a warning. Then Emperor Fengdu, is he only allowed to take 2 cheap books? In this way, my harvest is quite rich. Jin Feng looked around for a week, cast his reluctant eyes on the copper stove, then bowed deeply, and said loudly, "Thank you for the gift, Senior, Jin Feng is here to thank you." After finishing speaking, he directly exited the study space. As soon as Jin Feng came out of the study, he couldn't wait to find a hidden place, and began to comprehend the void clone technique. As far as Jin Feng is concerned, although the name also depends on the existence of the clone of the endless tree, it is almost impossible to fall, but these endless trees cannot fight at all, and can only be used as a tool to absorb and feed back divine power. This void clone technique, condensing the deity, is the real combat power. The preconditions required for the practice of the void clone technique are not as terrifying as the great breaking teleportation technique, but they are also very exaggerated. To break the essence of space and expose the upper space, one must understand the laws of space, which can only be achieved at a level above the Lord of the universe. The void clone technique is divided into 3 layers. The first layer breaks the essence of space in the small universe, exposes the breadth of the source world, and can condense a clone. The second layer breaks the essence of the source world and exposes the breadth of endless source space. It can condense 32 avatars, which requires strength above the true God of the void. The third layer absorbs the essence of thousands of 437 worlds, and can condense 10,081 clones. It requires a minimum level and must be Holy Ruler. At the third level, each avatar can maintain 3/10 of the deity's combat power, and can simultaneously maintain 9 strongest avatars that are indistinguishable from the deity. On the first floor, an avatar is nothing more than a chicken rib to other people. After all, most of them are used to hide in a certain place, so as to ensure that the main deity is outside, so that they will not encounter danger and really die. But for me, it's different. Jin Feng smiled confidently. This void clone technique is not aimed at only human beings who can practice, as long as they can comprehend the essence of space and possess the life of the soul. In other words, Zi Luofei's clone and Endless Tree's clone can also practice this secret technique. At that time, each of Jin Feng's avatars will have void avatars. For existences like the purple vine avatar, having one more is simply a qualitative change. Breaking the essence of the void is just a means of the Lord of the universe. It's very simple. Jin Feng took out the Beishuan sword and swiped towards the sky. Hu, crack. Just in an instant, faint cracks appeared in the space cut by the Beishuan sword, and streams of strong wind poured in and blew on Jin Feng's body. Release the soul, wash. Without saying a word, Jin Feng exposed himself to the wind. Report, 87%. Chapter 97. Void Clone, Go to God Emperor City. Cooperating with the secret technique of Void Clone technique, Jin Feng was able to keep his soul from dissipating in this endless wind. It hurts. Pain from the soul. Even though Jin Feng was used to being seriously injured in battle, he still felt excruciatingly painful when he was blown by this strong wind. This pain does not come from the body, but from the depths of the soul. Jin Feng persisted in pain, but soon felt that his soul seemed to be under the ravages of this strong wind, becoming stronger and stronger. After the soul was condensed to a certain extent, Jin Feng repaired the space gap and proceeded to the next step. My soul is strong enough to be divided now. Come. Jin Feng's divine power suddenly condensed, forming a faint prototype of a huge figure in front of him. With the infusion of Jin Feng's divine power, the body gradually took shape. With golden scales, red eyes, and a height of 1,000 meters, it is another golden peak. And the clone of this deity, while absorbing divine power, its strength is rising rapidly, and within 1,000 years, it has grown into an existence of the same realm as Jin Feng. The purple vine clone also cultivated a void clone during this period of time. Okay, I got the treasure in the treasury, and my avatar has also been completed. Now it's time to go to the origin continent. Jin Feng glanced at his avatar. His face was full of satisfaction. After storing it in the space ring, he went to the exit of the secret realm according to the map marked by Feng Mo. But Jin Feng just left for 100 years, then suddenly stopped and shook his head. The speed of the purple vine clone is really too slow, only 10,000 times the speed of light. If I walk slowly at this speed, even in the next era, I'm afraid I won't be able to reach the exit of the secret realm. I have two thoughts. One is to continue to retreat and improve your strength. When the purple vine clone enters the Lord of the Universe, you will be able to fully grasp the laws of space. When the time comes to break the law with force, you can teleport directly to 1,000,000 times the speed of light. Another. Jin Feng took out a book from the world ring. It's time to practice the boundary-breaking teleportation technique. To fully practice this kind of secret technique, at least one needs to be called a holy ruler to transport the box. But I don't need to teleport such a long distance at all. To enter other source worlds, I only need to teleport a certain distance. That is to say, as long as I learn a little, I can benefit a lot. But, the threshold for this kind of secret technique is really too high. If there are no treasures to improve understanding and inspiration, I will not be able to get the altar even if I have practiced for trillions of years. This secret realm used to be a corner of the Luian continent. There must be countless treasures. I might as well visit here now to see if any treasures appear. Thinking of this, Jin Feng turned around and went to the nearest treasure place, the ancient battlefield. On the map, there are countless such ancient battlefields. It is said that the battle between the two Hunyuan beings also involved countless races. Whether it is the God King or the Holy Master, they all joined the battle. Hundreds of millions of spaces were shattered, and countless God Kings and rulers fell. Although hundreds of millions of eras have passed in some of these battlefields, there are still weapons and treasures left by ancient powers. Those originating from the mainland, especially like to look for treasures in these ancient battlefields. There are also many people who have found the Xian in it. After all, those who can participate in that battle must at least have the existence of a true god to be eligible to be used as cannon fodder. Even some eternal true gods will wander around looking for treasures in such places regardless of face. Of course, the rewards are great, but the dangers are also great. Those mighty powers, even if hundreds of millions of eras have fallen, their remaining prestige and will can still kill immortals with ease, so that the true gods have to be careful, and the true gods of the void will fall if they are careless. Well, there is actually a city built here. Jin Feng looked down and found a city stretching hundreds of millions of kilometers. And even such a dangerous place has attracted a large number of lives, and even on the border of the ancient battlefield, a city has been built to provide shelter for those explorers. Most of the lives in this city are in the realm of immortality, and 3 of them have become the aura of venerables. And there are fewer masters of the universe. Jin Feng observed for half a day, but he didn't find any existence above the master of the universe passing by. Jin Feng landed in front of the city that said, God Emperor City, retracted and turned into a human form, just about to enter, but was blocked by 2 guards. Show your token. Token. Jin Feng looked around, only to realize that all the beings entering and exiting the city of God Emperor would pass a token to the guards at the side before entering the city, and after the latter had finished checking, the regiment was allowed to enter the city as a minister. As for Jin Feng, he undoubtedly didn't have the so-called token, so he could only truthfully say, "This is my first visit to God Emperor City, so I don't have a token." The guard glanced at him and said, "Then you only need to pay 100 true yuan crystals to apply for a token to enter the city, otherwise you will not be able to enter the city." Jin Feng shook his head again. "I don't have a real yuan area either." He has a lot of immortal crystals and other resources in his hands, but it doesn't look like the true essence crystals that the guards are talking about. The guard said impatiently, "Although you are only immortal, your aura is not too weak. Even if you do something casually, you won't be unable to take out 100 true essence crystals, right?" Just when Jin Feng was at his wit's end, a young man riding on a strange beast shouted, "Forget it, it's just 100 true crystals, why bother this little brother and surround me?" Jin Feng turned his head, and saw a young man with hair tied in a jade crown, sitting on a chair of a rhinoceros and strange beast. Seeing the figure of this young man, the guard couldn't help but turn pale with fright, and hastily saluted, "So it's Mr. Zuo Yantu. If you speak, I should obey." After finishing speaking, he handed Jin Feng a wooden sign and said, "My lord, please forgive me, this is the identity token of God Emperor City, as long as you inject a little breath, you can use it." Jin Feng got the wooden sign, turned his head and saluted, "Thank you, young master, for your help, Jin Feng can't thank you enough." That Zuo Yantu laughed loudly. "It's just 100 true essence crystals, what is it? Brother Jin Feng looks extraordinary, and it's also the first time to come to this God Emperor City. Since you and I are destined, why don't you travel with me for a long time? How about it?" Naturally, Jin Feng would not refuse. Being respectful is worse than obeying orders. As he spoke, he was brought up on top of the rhinoceros beast by a servant, and sat in the chariot. Which territory is Brother Jinfeng from? How long have you been in this secret realm? Report. 3. 88%. Chapter 98. Zuo Yantu and Zuo Qingbo, the three void gods. As soon as he got in the car, Zuo Yantu asked enthusiastically. For this, Jin Feng had already prepared countermeasures, and immediately replied, I am a member of the Three Yuan realm. I have been in this secret realm for hundreds of millions of years. I originally wanted to seek treasures, but I have wandered for hundreds of millions of years, but I have not gained anything. In desperation, I wanted to come to this ancient battlefield to try my luck, and found this God Emperor city without thinking, so I wanted to enter. Zuo Yantu nodded in conviction. It turned out to be a person from the Sanyuan realm. No wonder the aura is different from that of people from other regions of the mainland where I originated, and there is no true essence crystal. The Trinity realm is a strange territory on the origin continent. Generally, when other universes come to the continent of origin, they are reincarnated through the channel of reincarnation, and lose all the memory and cultivation of the previous life. But there are also some special cases. Many people are unintentionally captured by the will of the continent of origin, and transferred from the original universe to the small universe of the ternary realm above the continent of origin. Although these people generally do not have memory loss cultivation bases, their cultivation bases are not considered high. After all, in this continent of origin, most life forms are immortal as long as they reach adulthood, and 123 can become the supreme master of the universe after a little tempering. As for the people in the ternary world, most of them are cultivated by the world masters, and few of them can achieve immortality. As for the venerables, there are not many in the entire small universe, and the masters of the universe are even unheard of. And Jin Feng had already known about this small universe of the Three Yuan realm on Fengmo's map, so he decided to pretend to be a person from the One Yuan realm. Sure enough, Zuo Yantu didn't become suspicious. Instead, he recognized it more clearly. I've heard that although you people in the Trinity realm generally don't have high cultivation levels, you all come from other universes and are contaminated by other universes. The breadth of the world, so the power of every move is extraordinary. Even compared to the strong of the same realm, it is somewhat more powerful. Where is there? Jin Feng could only answer casually, while Divine Sense was searching the city non-stop. He could feel that in this city, although most of the auras were just ordinary immortal existences, there were some powerful figures faintly mixed in. Immediately his face changed slightly. 632 true gods, and 3 void true gods. This road of origin is really as strong as a cloud. This city is only a few 100 billion kilometers away. It can actually gather such a terrifying combat power. If it is placed in the original universe, it may cause a riot. But even so, Jin Feng was only slightly surprised. He didn't intend to do anything in the city. Jin Feng wanted to go to the city to find some rare treasures that would allow him to practice the boundary-breaking teleportation technique, or treasures that would increase his strength quickly. But even with hands, even the 632 true gods and the 3 void gods together may not be able to shake the body of the purple vine clone, not to mention that there is even a void clone in the purple vine clone up. Zuo Yantu warmly invited Jin Feng to a restaurant, set up a banquet, and drank for fun, very chic. During the conversation, Jin Feng learned that this Zuo Yantu was the eldest son of the Zuo family, one of the 3 major powers in the city. Although his strength was only immortal, his father was a genuine void yuan. Zuo Yantu is free and easy by nature, loose and uninhibited, and naturally does not like to practice. With the existence of his father, the eternal true God, even if Zuo Yantu does not practice, he is born with an endless lifespan in a small cosmic holy place where his father will never collapse, so he has no fighting spirit at all. And even though he was the eldest son, Zuo Yantu didn't participate in any struggle with his younger brothers, so he was aloof. Come, brother Jin Feng, you and I are destined, please drink a full glass. Zuo Yantu persuaded him to drink while looking at the dancing girl, feeling very happy. But, suddenly, a provocative voice came. BJAA. It turns out that elder brother is entertaining guests here. I don't know what kind of guests can make elder brother spend so much time on you. After all, a slender figure led a group of guards, rushed into the banquet aggressively, drove away the dancers, and the leader looked at Zuo Yantu with a provocative look. Uncle Zuo Cheng, you are going too far. I am entertaining guests, why are you? A flash of anger flashed in Zuo Yantu's eyes, and he immediately reprimanded him, but he was interrupted by Uncle Zuo Cheng just as he spoke. Brother, I just want to come here to join in the fun, why bother to hurt people? Uncle Zuo Cheng said. He found a seat at random and sat down, as if he was invited. He poured himself a glass of wine, and after drinking it all in one gulp, his eyes suddenly stopped on Jin Feng. This is the guest invited by the elder brother, right? Tisk tisk, it's just an ordinary immortal, and in terms of breath, it's just a little stronger. Uncle Zuo Ching smiled triumphantly, turned his head and pointed at his guards, and flaunted, brother, even if you are only a small immortal, you still have the face of your father, how can you make friends with an immortal like you? Quote. Like me, even all the guards are at the level of the venerable, and this, insect king, is even a witch cultivator, whose strength is unfathomable, it can be called, the venerable realm is invincible. What he said was almost a slap in the face of Zuo Yantu. But even so, Zuo Yantu just had a cold face, unable to refute. His personality is so free and unrestrained that he is very slack about his practice. Several of his younger brothers have reached the level of venerables, while he is still hovering at the level of immortality, so he is often bullied by these people. And his father, the supreme void god in this city, didn't care about these trivial matters at all, so Zuo Yantu also had a hard time saying, Pingtianli can only hide a few people and walk aside. Unexpectedly, today he wanted to invite Jin Feng to a banquet, but this Uncle Zuo Ching learned of it and came here specially. Uncle Zuo Ching, I am your elder brother after all, why are you pushing me so hard? Is it just to fight for those things? Zuo Yantu gritted his teeth, but he had no choice but to roar in question. HMPH, brother, you know why, so don't pretend to be confused. Uncle Zuo Ching snorted coldly, without any intention of being persuaded. Instead he looked at Jin Feng and smiled coldly. You are a little immortal, are you worthy of listening to our family affairs here? I dare not kill my elder brother, but you, an outsider, dare to be so presumptuous. Heavenly Insect King, take it down for me, put his head down and put it in front of my elder brother. Yes, your majesty. After a gloomy reply, the Heavenly Insect King who was standing behind Uncle Zuo Ching suddenly stepped out, and then waved his hands. Hundreds of millions of dark golden worms came out from his cuffs. Report, 88%. Chapter 99. Against the Insect King, Beishuan's sword unsheathed. The insects and beasts covered the sky and covered the entire banquet hall in an instant, and rushed towards Jinfeng. Which shoe? There is no such system in the primordial universe, but it looks interesting. Jin Feng smiled lightly, but he didn't have any fear in the face of the insects and beasts rushing towards him. But this day, the Insect King does have some abilities, and each of those worm beasts can be compared to the peak existence of the World Lord. Although a bug beast can be killed by waving its hands to ordinary immortals. And hundreds of millions of insects and beasts are coming together, even if you are at the peak of the king, you have to think about it. Don't want. Seeing this scene, Zuo Yantu's face changed drastically and he roared angrily. In his eyes, although Jin Feng is very affectionate, his strength is only the peak of immortality, so facing the attack of the Worm King, he has no power to fight back at all. Late, a cold look flashed in the eyes of the Heavenly Insect King, and he grinned grinningly. My gold-eating insect is a strange insect beast. Although the maturity stage is only around the peak of the World Lord, it is difficult to destroy it even if it is immortal, and their nature of devouring everything is even more ferocious. Devour all enemies. Buzz buzz. The gold-eating insects in the air waved their wings and rushed towards Jin Feng's position like a tide, covering its figure in an instant, making it airtight. Brother Jin Feng. Zuo Yantu's eyes were reddish, he clenched his fists tightly, his face was full of anger and hatred. Uncle Zuo Ching, I just want to live my life in peace, why are you pushing me so hard? Zuo Qingbo snorted coldly and said, quiet. Brother, you are wrong. From the moment you were born, after you became the eldest son of the eternal true God, you have to fight for it. Otherwise, others will swallow your bones and dig empty your flesh and blood, and trample on it. You are my eldest brother and the eldest son of the family. I cannot kill you, but I can teach you a lesson so that you will know what choice to make in the future. Do you understand? Looking at the lonely and deep expression on Zuo Yantu's face, Uncle Zuo Ching sarcastically said a few words, then waved his hand, let's go. After that, he turned around and left. Who said you can go? A calm voice suddenly rang out. What? Uncle Zuo Ching and the Heavenly Insect King looked back in surprise, only to see that the gold-eating insects that had been wrapped up in a pile suddenly fell to the ground and died one by one as if poisoned, and then peeled off, revealing a huge golden figure. Jin Feng, how could you resist the bite of the gold-eating bug? The King of Worms saw that figure in disbelief, and his expression changed drastically. Zuo Yantu and the others were also extremely astonished. Immediately, the Heavenly Insect King sneered with a bit of anger, okay, it seems that if I don't show some skills, I still can't take you down. Immediately, his hands fluttered and quickly formed seals, and he shouted, Heavenly Soul Worm. Whirring whirring. From the sleeves of the Heavenly Insect King, hundreds of millions of black worms flew out. These worms were completely black, no more than the size of a thumb, but each of them was ferocious and had a dangerous aura. Seeing these little bugs appear, they couldn't help being stunned, and then someone said in horror, Is this the heavenly soul insect? The heavenly soul insect that can devour the soul?" Jin Feng was taken aback, and also looked at the densely packed insects in the air, feeling a little surprised in his heart, swallowing souls. It's unbelievable that there are such strange beasts. Before the true God, all life is the essence of the soul. And there are very few exercises that can cultivate the soul, even in this continent of origin, it is the same. Even many lives do not actually have souls, only a core of life. And this kind of insect beast targeting the essence of life can be said to be weird and difficult to defend against. And these billions of worms and beasts are like flood beasts. Under the true God, the scalp will tingle when they see them. Therefore, it is justifiable for someone to recognize the soul worm this day, so gaff. Hey, that's right, it's the sky soul worm. The heavenly insect king chuckled, pointed at Jin Feng and said, "If you can die under this kind of strange beast, you deserve to die. After all, order the worms to attack forward." I saw the heavenly soul worms all over the sky, as if they were going to swallow half of everything, rushing towards Jin Feng's position. But Jin Feng just stood where he was, without giving way, and raised a palm at random. Boom! A long sword appeared on Jin Feng's palm, and with a light wave, the sword energy spread across the sky, rushing into the swarm of heavenly soul insects, smashing all the heavenly soul insects into dross after a few shakes. Asking for flowers. This is the true weapon of the gods. The most powerful and the most precious. As soon as the heavenly insect king saw the long sword that Jin Feng took out, his eyes were nailed to it, and his greed suddenly appeared. "You are a little immortal. How can you have the most precious treasure?" The heavenly insect king looked at Jin Feng's Beishuan sword, salivating, and asked impatiently. "The strongest and the most precious are the weapons of the true gods, and they are very rare among the true gods. I am afraid that only 1 or 2 out of 100 can be obtained. Even the true God of the void is difficult to destroy. In the primordial universe, it is a supreme treasure, which is difficult to obtain. Basically, only the peak group, or the strong in the holy land of the universe, can have it. In the continent of origin, although it is not as rare as in the original universe, it is also an extremely precious treasure, which is difficult for ordinary true gods to obtain. Point 0. However, the heavenly insect king is nothing more than a respectable person. Seeing the most powerful and most treasured, he is naturally overwhelmed, his eyes shine brightly, and he can't wait to snatch his favor immediately. And even Uncle Zuo Qing was very surprised when he saw the Beishuan sword, and shook his head immediately. As the heir of the eternal true God, even though the strongest and most precious treasures are rare, he didn't take them seriously. He was more surprised that the Jinfeng in front of him was just a little immortal. Why did he get the true God weapon? Could it be that he has a great background? However, according to the guards placed next to the elder brother, Jin Feng is just a person from the three-dimensional world. Even in other universes, with a rather amazing background, he is helpless and alone on this continent of origin. Thinking of this, Zuo Qingbo sneered, "Insect King, do you like the most powerful treasure? If you want it, kill Jin Feng, and the treasure will be rewarded to you." Hearing this, the heavenly insect king was overjoyed, and immediately waved his sleeves, shaking out more insects and beasts, and the sky was immediately surrounded by colorful insects and beasts. There are gold-devouring worms and sky soul worms that I have seen before, and some worms that I have never seen before. But without exception, there is a frightening atmosphere flashing. It was just a test. Jin Feng, if you only have this ability, you will die under my worm. The heavenly insect king sneered, his face was full of greed, and he stared at Jin Feng's Beishuan sword. Report. 88%. Chapter 100. The magical use of the sky soul worm, the essence of the void clone technique. Want my Xian? Jin Feng smiled faintly, and continued, "Okay, you can get it yourself." After saying that, he waved his hand and slashed out 3 sword chi, cutting several holes in the insects and beasts in the sky. Just struggle hard. I am pregnant with the Zerg brood. As long as there is divine power to supply, these little guys are endless. Speaking of this, the heavenly insect king showed a complacent look on his face. As a witch cultivator, his methods are extremely weird, plus his character is ruthless and sinister. I don't know how many strong people died under this endless nest of insects, so he made his name and became Uncle Zuo, proud guard. As long as there is divine power, is it endless? Jin Feng looked at the bugs in the sky and suddenly thought of something. In Void Clone Technique, the so-called breaking the essence of the universe and 750, guiding the external breath to exercise the soul is nothing but a way of cultivating the soul. Jin Feng pondered. Because there are very few ways to train the soul, even in the continent of origin, it is very rare, and not many people are willing to practice. Thus, the power to create this kind of secret technique in another source world is probably in the same situation, so I chose this method to practice the avatar. And the way the void clone technique guides the breath of the outside world is to use the wind from the upper world to continuously destroy and repair the soul, so as to make the soul stronger and more solidified. So, the most important thing is not to break the essence of the universe and guide the wind, but the way to repair the soul. Thinking of this, Jin Feng was overjoyed. The third level of the void clone technique is because after one level of practice, the soul can be solidified in the upper space, and the wind will no longer harm it. Therefore, it is necessary to constantly break the essence of space and pursue the upper space. And this day the soul worm. You can devour souls at will. Gang wind, swallowing, are all ways to destroy the soul. There is no difference between cause and cause. As for the heavenly soul worm devouring the soul, as long as the realm is strong enough, there is no limit. That is to say, I can completely practice the third level of void clone art at a very low level. Thinking of this, Jin Feng couldn't help trembling with excitement, overjoyed. But this kind of action fell into the eyes of others, because Jin Feng felt terrified when he saw the insects and beasts all over the sky. He could hardly hold himself, and even gave up resisting. Slow down, Uncle Zuo Qing. I can promise you that I can quit the family, as long as you let brother Jin Feng go. When Zuo Yantu saw this, he yelled directly. You, daughter, you really willing to quit the family? Uncle Zuo was overjoyed. If Zuo Yantu is willing to withdraw from the family and no longer enjoy the privileges and resources of the eldest son of the family, then his second son, Uncle Zuo Qing, can transform himself into the eldest son. It is of great significance for him to control the entire family in the future. That's right, I am willing to quit the family, as long as you let brother Jin Feng go. Zuo Yantu gave a wry smile and sighed, but before he could say anything, he was interrupted by Jin Feng. Brother Zuo Yantu, we just met by chance, why did you do this? Jin Feng was very surprised. Even if he had never imagined a descendant of an eternal true God, he could guess how big it was. Even if it was the most powerful treasure in his hands, it was like a toy in front of them, without any practical significance. And Zuo Yantu just met him by chance, why did he do this? Zuo Yantu smiled bitterly and said, Brother Jin Feng, to be honest, although I am a descendant of the eternal God, I am actually worried and uncomfortable every day. Only when I say a few words to you, I feel happy. I have no talent for cultivation, and I don't have this kind of thought. Rather than being pointed at by others every day, it's better to be a commoner, to be leisurely and happy every day. After saying that, he wanted to go forward, but Jin Feng still sighed and shook his head, no. Jin Feng took a step forward and swung his sword. Whoosh! Sword lights all over the sky emerged out of thin air, and each one contained the power of the strong principle of gold, instantly strangling all insects and beasts to pieces. It's unbelievable that you can do this with an immortal body. The insect king was a little surprised, but he didn't pay much attention to it. After all, in the origin continent, there are not a few people who can achieve this step. He immediately sneered. Then, let me show you the difference between us. Come again. Hoo. The worms and beasts all over the sky appeared again, and their scale became bigger and bigger. Hey, I said boy, as long as my divine power is not exhausted, then the worms and beasts will be endless, ha. The insect king smiled triumphantly. Jin Feng's expression didn't change much, he was just thinking. I can't be too rough, otherwise the world ring of the worm king will be destroyed. It can't be too slow, otherwise the heavenly insect king will definitely choose to self-destruct and destroy all resources. It must be killed with one blow, leaving him with no time to react. So at the beginning, I had to hide my clumsiness and let him think that my strength is weak, and he is sure to win. Thinking of this, Jin Feng will brandish the Beishuan sword, and with a shout of anger, he will rush to the sky and fight with the endless Zhonglu Sea. The scale Jin Feng grasped was very suitable. Although it seemed that he could barely handle it, he was very embarrassed. Several times, even a small part of his clothes were bitten off by those gold-eating insects. Ha. Have you exhausted your divine power? The sword chi just now is probably the limit you can use with the power of the most powerful treasure, right? It's a pity that such an attack seems to consume so much divine power that it's ridiculous to have to fight in close quarters now. The heavenly insect king looked very proud of the battle in the sky, and immediately began to sneer. Extremely powerful, to let you play like this 1.9, what a reckless waste. Hand over the most powerful treasure obediently, and then kill yourself. I cannot torture you, otherwise I must let you try the pain of hundreds of millions of soul worms devouring the soul. Jin Feng heard the ridicule below, and immediately had a thought. This is the time. On the Beishuan sword, 120,000 secret lines suddenly lit up at the same time, arousing the momentum of the heaven and the earth, and the original light of gold rippling into a dense halo, like a thick fog. Cut. Call. This sword chi contains the unbelievably thick power of the original gold, as if the will of the world has descended, making the surrounding air feel as thick as metal. Layers of golden light fluctuated, emitting a frightening atmosphere. What? The Insect King suddenly raised his head in doubt. Report. 88%. Chapter 101. Only the Venerable, kill with one sword. Above, there appeared a breath that made his heart jump. Not good, it's a killer move. Run. The Heavenly Insect King's expression changed instantly, and he burned his divine body without any explanation, and was about to run away straight away. Ito. Just thinking about running now. It's too late. Jin Feng sneered. That sharp sword energy suddenly slashed from the sky, carrying a surprising aura. It split the Heavenly Insect King in half before he could react in the future. The life of the Venerable, even if only one cell survives, can be reborn again, and the mere body is split in half, which is nothing at all. But this sword, the divine body of the Insect King, was directly annihilated. One sword beheaded the Venerable Peak. And this golden peak is nothing but an immortal. This, the Heavenly Insect King, is a witch cultivator, and among the Venerables, he is almost invincible. How could he be defeated by a mortal? Looking at the scene in front of him, Uncle Zuo Qing widened his eyes in disbelief. But Zuo Yantu was overjoyed, and immediately greeted him. Brother Jin Feng, how are you? It's shocking that you can kill Venerable Peak with an immortal body, even if the 21st is on the origin continent, is also very rare, and can be called a demon genius. I'm afraid that in the original universe, your background family is also very powerful, presumably not even lower than our family. A monstrous genius, for example, can ravage the immortal during the World Lord period. When immortal, he can also fight the Venerable. When the Venerable, he is invincible in the same realm. The more monstrous geniuses are, the rarer they are. Even on the continent of origin, there are not many of them. Generally, these geniuses will be concentrated in big families, trained intensively, and obtained generous resources. Or simply, he was originally an heir of a big family, and the resources he got were even more remarkable. Although Jin Feng is only a mere immortal, he can wear the true god weapon, and his strength is very strong, which is very in line with the characteristics of the children of the big family, so Zuo Yantu said so. Uncle Zuo Qing's expression became very ugly. Zuo Yantu actually got such a terrifying helper, and his talent is very monstrous, and he can kill the peak of the Venerable just in the immortal period. This kind of talent, even their father, the eternal god, will focus on cultivating it. With such a helper, Uncle Zuo Qing couldn't touch Zuo Yantu for a long time. After all, no matter which universe it is, strength is the most important thing. No amount of power or control is as important as strength. After Jin Feng said a few words to Zuo Yantu, he stepped forward and put away the world ring of the Insect King. After carefully inspecting his body, he burned it to ashes. Seeing this, Uncle Zuo Qing's eyes lit up. He actually put away the ring of the Insect King in front of everyone, showing that he is greedy for money. As long as you are greedy for money, that's fine. Immediately, Uncle Zuo Qing took a step forward and said, Jin Feng, what happened just now was just a misunderstanding. If you are willing to protect me, I can definitely give you a lot of resources, even several times what my elder brother pays. After all, Zuo Qing took out a bunch of equipment from the world ring and randomly piled them on the ground. Although you have a true weapon, but without armor and other equipment, it is difficult to exert the strongest combat power. These are all powerful treasures. As long as you are willing to protect me, then these are the meeting gifts for you. A bunch of powerful treasures were randomly thrown on the ground like garbage, causing everyone's eyes to look at where they were, full of blazing heat. Xion, even if it is a true god, it is difficult to obtain. As expected of being a descendant of the eternal true god, this treasure can be taken out a bunch at will. And among the pile of equipment, there is the palace-type Xion and treasure that Jin Feng has been thinking about day and night. Jin Feng couldn't help looking at the palace, his eyes moved slightly. Zuo Yantu looked at Jin Feng nervously, but he didn't dare to speak out. Although Zuo Yantu is also a descendant of the eternal true god, his strength is weak, and his status is also very low. In addition, his father has many heirs, so he is rarely taken into account except for some major events. Therefore, even if Jin Feng changed his mind temporarily and became Uncle Zuo Qing's guard, all Zuo Yantu could do was sigh. But when it comes to that step, Zuo Yantu will have a sad life in the future, just think about it. Looking carefully at the palace's most powerful treasure, Jin Feng immediately confirmed that this was the type of treasure he wanted. This palace is the most powerful and treasured, named Yunfang Pagoda. Once activated, ordinary true gods can't destroy it at all. Moreover, it can increase its speed to 1,000,000 times the speed of light, and it also has a very rare teleportation function. As long as there is enough divine power, with the teleportation function, Jin Feng can even reach 1,000,000,000 times the speed of light. The time to rush to the entrance of the origin continent can also be shortened a lot. Well, Jin Feng sighed, looked away reluctantly, and then said lightly, "Forget it, Brother Zuo Yantu is my friend, and I will never do anything to betray a friend." You, toast, don't eat fine wine. How has Uncle Zuo Qing been rejected so bluntly? Immediately, his face darkened, and he sneered, "Jin Feng, don't think that you are great because you have some talent. You know that the entire origin continent, how many geniuses and monsters are there? But those who can truly survive and become strong are very few." 730. Since you don't know how to flatter, don't blame me for being rude. After finishing speaking, he glanced at Zuo Yantu and left with a group of people. Seeing the back of Uncle Zuo Qing leaving, Zuo Yantu seemed to want to say something, but was interrupted by Jin Feng. "Brother Zuo, this is the end of the matter, let's continue to drink, what are you doing with so much?" After all, he sat back on his seat and continued to drink and have fun, as if he didn't care about it. Jin Feng knew that Zuo Yantu was worried that he would offend Uncle Zuo Qing because of this, and felt uneasy, so in order to convince him that he didn't take it seriously, he drank as usual. Seeing this, Zuo Yantu forced a smile, sat back on his seat, pondered for a moment, and then hesitantly said, "Brother Jinfeng, then." Jin Feng said, "Soldiers come to block, water comes to cover. It's just a trivial matter, I don't believe it, for my little immortality, he can still find a real god to kill me." Quote. As Jin Feng said, he waved his hand suddenly, and a figure emerged from the interspatial ring. This person had exactly the same face as Jin Feng, and even the breath was exactly the same, which made people astonished. Another, Jin Feng, saluted Zuo Yantu with a smile, then raised his glass and took a drink. This avatar technique. Zuo Yantu is unbelievable. Avatar technique, because it's unbelievable. Report, 89%. Chapter 102. The precious clone technique, entering the ancient battlefield. No wonder Zuo Yantu was so surprised. Unlike the primordial universe, the origin continent's will is very repulsive to clones, so it never grants the talent of clones to local aborigines. And it does not allow life to create new avatars. In other words, there was no clone in the original continent of origin. But the Trinity is a special existence that attracts life from billions of universes. As for the wills of other universes, although most of them will not bestow avatar talent, occasionally one or two beings with avatar talent will appear. Doppelganger, back to heaven. Leaving aside life-saving, it's just combat power. Every clone exists as equivalent to doubling the combat power. And most of the beings with the talent of doppelganger will also have some special skills of combining. Just like Jin Feng's clone of the Endless Tree, in a single thought, all the incarnations of the Endless Tree can be gathered together to form a huge clone. And the most important thing is to save your life. Life is born to fear death. Therefore, for some dangerous secret realms and trials, many people will not dare to go for it, even if the reward is even better. After all, when one dies, nothing is left. The avatar talent is an exception. As long as one avatar survives, it will be able to give birth to the deity, but it will only lose some divine power. And even many strong people who dare not provoke, these people with clone talent, can provoke them at will without any scruples. After all, it's just a clone, so what if you kill it? My true self is hundreds of millions of light years away, can you find it? Avatars are so rare that even at my father's level, being able to have avatars is just a legend. When Zuo Yantu saw that Jin Feng actually had a clone, he immediately felt relieved and relieved. It is very difficult for a person with a clone to be killed, and once the clone is destroyed, more clones will be condensed, so even those strong people whose strength is far beyond the talent of the clone are unwilling to provoke them. Zuo Yantu poured a glass of wine for Jin Feng, suddenly frowned again, and said in a deep voice, "Brother Jin Feng, although it is a good thing that you have a clone, you must also pay attention. I heard that there are some strong people who are very fond of the avatar talent, but they can't get it, so they like to look for people from the three-dimensional world who have the avatar talent to win. It is said that on the mainland of origin, the lord of the well-known Qingfang Divine Kingdom, the aloof God King, Sha Huang, was originally just an ordinary human from the mainland of origin, but by accident, he was taken away. A life with the avatar talent from the Trinity realm, after cultivating the avatar, wanders through those dangerous secret realms and trials at will, and obtains a lot of resources, secret techniques, and inheritance, so it grows all the way until it reaches the meaning of the God King. And the example of Emperor Shah also made many strong people ready to move, and they began to search all over the world for lives with clone talents, wanting to seize them and replace them. Thus, even though you have the avatar talent, it is very difficult to be killed, but you should also pay attention, otherwise. Jin Feng nodded in conviction. Indeed, the avatar talent is so unbelievable that even the existence of a god king would be coveted. Even in the primordial universe where avatar talents are flooding, having avatars is quite convenient and powerful. In this continent of origin where there is basically no avatar technique, it can be called a divine skill. Even the level of the god king is very coveted. Jin Feng nodded and agreed. The two drank and had fun together, talking happily. 10,000 years later, ancient battlefield. Here is the ancient battlefield. What an exaggerated coercion. Even after endless years have passed, the aura of those powerful people still makes me feel terrified. Looking at the seemingly endless ruins in front of him, Jin Feng was shocked. On this ancient battlefield, huge corpses can be seen everywhere. Yes, generals in armor. There are wild beasts. Some are burning trees, but without exception, these corpses are huge. Every corpse has a diameter of at least tens of light years. Those normal-sized corpses have long been eroded into yellow sand by endless years. And those left behind are the strongest among the strong, at least the realm above the eternal true God, so that they can be immortal even in the endless years. Jin Feng was sighing, when someone urged him immediately behind him, "Fellow Taoist Jin Feng, don't look, we have to move forward." Jin Feng turned his head and saw a few people looking at him with dissatisfaction. He immediately smiled awkwardly and replied, "Sorry, it's the first time I entered the ancient battlefield, so I lost my composure. I'll band it right away. This is a team that went to the ancient battlefield to find treasures. This kind of team is very common in God Emperor City, and it has become a common practice. It can even be said that it accounts for 99% of the city's permanent population. Their purpose is naturally to search for treasures in the ancient battlefield next to God Emperor City, hoping to find peerless treasures one day, or the inheritance left by Da Nang before his death. However, most of these teams will also collect some resources while exploring. After all, the environment in the ancient battlefield is different from the surrounding world, and some very precious resources will also be produced. After observing for a few days, Jin Feng also decided to follow such a team to explore. Their main purpose this time is to collect the resource, Mengwangsha. It is said that after the Great War, the corpses of the strong were eroded over the endless years and finally turned into a kind of sand. Although it is not particularly precious, it is also very useful, and it is also one of the main resources that most treasure hunting teams collect. There are 6 people in this team, namely King Lijing, Old Man Tianmu, Zian Xian, Zhu Shuiye, Lord Tuofeng, and Jin Feng. Among the 6, King Lijing and Lord Tuofeng of Zhao are the early stages of the Venerable, and the rest are all immortal. Therefore, King Lijing and Lord Tuofeng naturally did their part to become the leaders of the team. The one who called Jin Feng just now was also the unfriendly King Lijing. Jin Feng followed the team into the ancient battlefield. As soon as he entered the battlefield, Jin Feng felt as if endless yellow sand was blowing, and the pressure on his body suddenly increased 100 times, as if he was supporting a mountain to move forward. And the ancient battlefield, which looks calm from the outside, only to find out upon entering it that there is actually a cloud of sand and dust sweeping in, covering the sky and covering the sun, covering the entire area of 100 million square miles. And amidst the dust in the sky, a dust-collected tornado was 1,000,000 kilometers high, sweeping across from east to west. When everyone saw the dust tornado, their eyes lit up. Today's luck is really good. As soon as I entered the ancient battlefield, I encountered the sand circle wind. Report, 89%. Chapter 103. Alien beasts of chaotic origin bloodline, 2-headed corpse insects attack. This sandstorm, which is rich in Mongolian yellow sand, generally speaking, the adventure team rarely encounters it once. King Lijing was overjoyed, and just about to order the team to go forward to collect Mengwangsha, he heard a sneer from the side. King Lijing, we really have a narrow road today, and we actually ran into you here. As soon as the words were finished, 5 figures with powerful auras walked into the ancient battlefield, and a crimson behemoth at the head laughed. Tianfeng General, it's you. Seeing the crimson giant beast, King Lijing's face changed drastically. General Tianfeng, we do not violate the river. You have entered this ancient battlefield, and there are dangers everywhere. If you want to take action against us, you must also consider one time. King Li Jing said, although his tone was not soft, but the meaning of his words was obviously bowing his head. And that day Feng Zhang laughed. Well, water doesn't violate river water. Don't make me laugh. When we collected Sky Soul Crystal last time, you snatched a piece. I still remember it. Snort. After a pause, looking at the yellow sand all around, he also snorted coldly. The ancient battlefield is full of dangers, and I won't entangle you too much without 560, so I will let you go. But this sandstorm, you don't want to get involved, get out. King Lijing and Lord Tuofeng looked at each other, and they both saw a bit of helplessness in each other's eyes, but facing the opponent's team of 5 strong men in the Venerable Realm, even if they were desperate, they would not fight at all. However, I can only swallow my anger. King Lijing glanced at Tianfengzhang's team rushing towards the sandstorm, snorted coldly, pointed in a direction, and said, let's go there. This is a safe route I have surveyed. Basically there have been no accidents. Everyone flew slowly. Jin Feng looked around, couldn't help looking around those huge corpses, feeling curious. Jin Feng, where are these corpses? Suddenly, the old man with Tianmu asked behind him. Jin Feng turned his head and nodded. These corpses are really shocking. They can keep from being corroded in the endless years. Even if they lose their lives, people can't help admiring them. The old man with Tianmu smiled and said, that's right, most of these corpses are existences above the eternal true CBFF God, so even the corpses have great power and can even produce quite precious resources, but those resources can only fly into the corpse to collect, and as little immortals will be suppressed by the breath when we get close, so only the existence above the master of the universe can barely withstand the pressure and enter the interior of the corpse. However, the flying speed of the Lord of the Universe is too slow, and his divine power is too little, so he can only wander outside the corpse space. Therefore, most of the people who enter the corpse to collect are powerful people above the true God. Only those above the true gods can enter. Jin Feng looked at the corpses with some emotion, couldn't help but nodded, and said in his heart, every realm above the true gods, the gap can be described as the difference between clouds and mud. I don't know my purple vine doppelganger, will it still be able to display its heaven-defying combat power by then? Jin Feng's eyes wandered around, and suddenly landed on a huge corpse that was over 1 million billion light years away. His eyes were full of shock, and he couldn't help asking, then, what kind of corpse is that? Why is it so huge? Could it be that it is a holy master, or a god king? In this battlefield, the one who can leave a corpse without being eroded by time must at least have the strength above the eternal true God. Most of the gods of the eternal real body are only about 1 light year away. The larger ones, which take the root of divine power, are also more than 10 light years away. But like this, it was the first time for Jin Feng to see a divine body that was millions of billions of light years away, and he couldn't even imagine how powerful such a creature would be. Holy Lord, King of God, Lord Tuo Feng said. Jin Feng, this is the first time you enter the ancient battlefield, so you don't know the origin of this corpse. It's normal. This corpse is more than 6 trillion light years long and 150 trillion light years in diameter. It is the largest corpse in this ancient battlefield, even in this secret realm. Quote. But its strength, in terms of conversion, is nothing more than a holy ruler, but even if those god kings exist on the continent of origin, they dare not get close to them. Why? Jin Feng was shocked. King of God, this is the top level above origin continent. Can easily establish a kingdom of God, almost eternal immortality. Even the will of the primordial universe where he was born, could not resist for too long under the attack of the god king, and it would fall apart. This is the power of the god king. And this corpse is nothing more than the strength of a holy master. Why doesn't even the god king dare to approach it? I only heard King Li Jing explaining coldly. According to the existence of several god kings, it is because the corpse of this strange beast is mixed with a trace of chaotic life's blood. Although it is very meager. But after all, it is the blood of chaotic origin, so even the king of gods cannot get close, otherwise he will be suppressed and slaughtered by that trace of blood. Speaking of this, King Li Jing's voice was full of longing. I really don't know what kind of strength can kill this kind of strange beast on the spot. Could it be the legendary Hunyuan life? Do chaotic source life really exist? I'm curious. Hey, this is not something I, a little immortal, should worry about. After that, he remained silent. Only Jin Feng looked at the lizard-like giant corpse, thought for a moment in his eyes, and suddenly took advantage of everyone's inattention, shook out 3 seeds from his hands and threw them towards that direction. After all this was done, before Jin Feng could speak, he only heard the voice of the glass mirror king in front of him. No, get ready for battle, it's a 2-headed corpse insect. Before the words fell, a strange buzzing sound came over, and I saw a group of invisible black clouds flying towards this side in the distant sky, and their speed was extremely fast. The two-headed corpse insect is a kind of insect beast that devours the yellow sand and flesh in this ancient battlefield. Although the individual strength is not strong, it is only around the early stage of the World Master, but when it appears, there are hundreds of millions of insects and beasts together. Overwhelming. Even the master of the universe is very headache. Jin Feng quickly recalled the information about the double-headed corpse worm, and immediately followed what King Glass Mirror said, using his divine power to wrap himself inside, then took out the Beishuan sword. Facing the double-headed corpse worm that was attacking him, he cut out hundreds of sword chi. Whoosh! The sword chi was vertical and horizontal, but in the blink of an eye, the double-headed corpse insects in one world were swept away, revealing a short vacancy, but it was quickly filled. This blow made several people in the team a little surprised, and couldn't help but look slightly sideways. Report. 89%. Chapter 104. Identity Exposure. Squad Betrayal. It's not a bad blow. Lord Tuo Feng nodded as a compliment. He himself sacrificed a flame field that spanned millions of kilometers, and any two-headed corpse insect that stepped into it would be burned to ashes by it. And Li Jingwang was not to be outdone. He held a long knife in his hand, and when he danced, it seemed as if thousands of currents were lingering around him, wantonly slaughtering the two-headed corpse insects in front of him. Everyone hold on. These two-headed corpse insects are just passing by, we just have to wait for them to pass by. King Li Jing roared angrily, while speeding up the movements of his hands. The two venerables resisted with ease, but the rest of the immortals seemed to be very difficult, especially Xianxian, who was not good at fighting. At this moment, it was relying on the protection of Lord Feng to barely support it. What is unexpected is that although Jin Feng does not seem to be of a high level, he does not seem to be struggling when surrounded by endless two-headed corpse insects, even has spare energy to protect the people around him. This lasted for about 3 days, and the high-intensity battle almost exhausted the immortality and other existences, but the two-headed corpse insect swarm was still boundless, with no end in sight. Damn it! Why are there so many of these two-headed corpse insects? According to the past rules, they should have dispersed long ago. The Glass Mirror King was a little helpless. Although the two lords could still support them, the rest of the immortals had almost exhausted their divine power. If this continued, even their lords would perish. At this extremely urgent juncture, Jin Feng suddenly sighed, and immediately put away the Beishuan sword. Jin Feng, what do you mean? Could it be that your divine power is exhausted and you want to commit suicide? Lord Tuo Feng's expression changed. Under such circumstances, one less person means less force, and one less force is to accelerate the death of their entire team. The others also turned their heads when they heard the words. Seeing Jin Feng's look of wanting to give up resistance, their eyes were a little annoyed. But Jin Feng didn't say a word, just made seals with his hands, and saw a crack in the space suddenly, and countless dark golden bugs flew out from it, densely packed at least in the billions, and they were constantly spitting out. It is not inferior to the double-headed corpse partition. And these dark golden worms, as soon as they appeared, gnawed away at the double-headed corpse worms. Their bodies were extremely hard, and their realm was much higher than that of the double-headed corpse worms. Each of them had the realm of the peak of the World Master. Under the attack of these dark golden bugs, the double-headed corpse worms quickly retreated, forming a small circle with a diameter of 1 million kilometers, which just accommodated a few people in the team. Jin Feng, I didn't expect you to be so skilled. It's amazing. It's too powerful. This is the means of witchcraft, right? It is said that this kind of inheritance will only appear in certain places in the secret realm, and each of them is very powerful. I didn't expect that I could witness this scene with my own eyes. I am so lucky. Jin Feng, since you have this kind of method, why didn't you use it earlier? You have to wait until the desperate situation to use it, wouldn't it be? What do you mean by that? Could it be that you like to expose your whole cards to others? Jin Feng can save us, we should be grateful. A group of people were overjoyed and thanked Jin Feng one after another, and were amazed that he still had such a means. Wushou, this kind of school does not exist on the continent of origin, only in the secret realm. Some people get some inheritance by accident. Wu Shudao is very good at raising insects and beasts, preparing voodoo, and some weird methods. Especially for insects and beasts, witchcraft can often cultivate a nest of insect races, and as long as the divine power is sufficient, they can summon endless swarms of insects. Although these bugs are not strong individually, their numbers are boundless and endless, and each of them has some weird characteristics. For example, the sky soul worm can devour the soul. Gold-devouring insects, even the venerable can hardly destroy its powerful carapace. There are so many kinds, the number is endless, which makes people have a headache. Therefore, even if the realm is much higher than Wushou's powerhouse, most of them are unwilling to provoke Wushou. The gold-devouring nest and the heavenly soul worm nest in Jin Feng's hands were the trophies he got from the Worm King that day. Although the Heavenly Insect King has cultivated many other insect beast broods, among them, only the Gold Devourer and the Heavenly Soul Insect are the most worthy of cultivation. Among them, the Heavenly Soul Insect Nest, under the catalysis of Jin Feng's divine power, has already begun to prepare for the next stage of evolution, which will take 10,000 years. While Jin Feng was waiting for the evolution of the Heavenly Soul Insect Hive so that he could practice the Void Clone technique, he felt bored, so he came out and joined an expedition team, thinking that he could find some information about the ancient battlefield by the way. Asking for flowers. Now, in such a dangerous situation, Jin Feng has no way to hide any longer. He can only let the brood produce gold-eating insects to resist the double-headed household insects. In midair, the gold-eating insect swarm showed its might, devouring the two-headed corpse insects for hundreds of millions of kilometers. They dare not enter again, and even the insect swarm that lasted for 3 days retreated quietly and left the area. Jin Feng also trembled slightly with his hands, recalling all the gold-eating insects back to his body space. Everyone hurry up and recover their divine power, but the Lijing King suddenly came forward, with a hint of coldness in his eyes, and said, Jin Feng, I finally remembered, so you are the one who killed Zuo, the guard of the second son of the family. 0. As soon as the words came out, everyone looked this way, with surprise in their eyes. Zojia, that is the eternal true God family. Some time ago, the second son of the Zuo family, Uncle Zuo Qing, was offended, but it was widely spread in the city, and Uncle Zuo Qing even said, as long as you can kill that Jinfeng, you will be rewarded with 1,000,000 true essence crystals. Exclamation mark. You know, an ordinary true god weapon is about the same price. Many true gods exist, and their net worth is only hundreds of thousands of true essence crystals. Rewarding 1,000,000 true crystals at a time is enough to drive the people below the cosmic group crazy. At first, when Jin Feng joined the team, they were not surprised. After all, there are too many lives in the God Emperor city, and it is normal to have the same name. And Jin Feng is nothing more than immortal strength, so what kind of person is the second son of the Zuo family? The master of the universe and even the true god around him should flatter him. How could it be possible that the younger immortal can recruit him? So I didn't care much. But now, after Jin Feng showed rare means of witchcraft and released endless gold-eating insects, King Li Jing finally realized that the Jin Feng in front of him was the existence that the second son of the Zuo family wanted to offer a reward for. Jin Feng heard the words, but his expression didn't change much. He just stared at Li Jingwang in front of him and looked at Lu. Report. 89%. Chapter 105. Flip over and kill. Hundreds of millions of powerful enemies strike. So, what do you want? King Li Jing's eyes, which were originally full of greed, were suddenly stimulated by Jin Feng's cold words, and he couldn't help shivering. At that moment, King Li Jing seemed to feel an inexplicable coldness, as if the person in front of him could kill him at will. And the person in front of him is nothing more than a small immortal. Li Jing Wang Cheng braced himself, bit the bullet and snorted coldly. Jin Feng, you offended Uncle Zuo Qing, don't you know that? Mr. Zuo is a descendant of the eternal true God. Could it be that you want to disobey the will of the eternal true body? And the people around who thanked Jin Feng for saving his life just now all gathered around, showing unkind faces and greedy eyes. Millions of true essence crystals can expose them instantly. This is not the most important thing. The important, 383, is that with this, they can make friends with the Zuo family of the eternal true God family. In terms of their current status, it is equivalent to reaching the sky in one step. Even those masters of the universe, and even true gods, dare not underestimate them easily. Jin Feng said indifferently, if Uncle Zuo Qing wants to kill me, he can do it himself. Why are you so anxious? I only heard the old man with Tianmu sneer and said, hey. What is the status of Mr. Zuo, and he needs to compete with you for mere immortality. Naturally, all orders will be given, and it will be easy for people to do it. Zi Yongxian, who had a good chat with Jin Feng just now, also had a cold look. Jin Feng, don't resist, let us take you down and give it to Mr. Zuo, so that you will suffer less. Isn't it? Lord Tuo Feng said. Jin Feng, I know your witchcraft skills are great, but you have to have time to use them first. If we two venerables attack together, you may not even have time to react, and you will be directly take it. These people all looked impatient, but they were afraid of the gold-eating insects in Jin Feng's hands, so they didn't dare to be the first to go, but they didn't want to leave. The glass mirror king opened his mouth suddenly, sprayed out a long rainbow, and shot it towards the sky, only to see the long rainbow submerged in the clouds, flying quickly to the distance, and then disappeared. Jin Feng, I have spread the information to the God Emperor city through secret techniques. I believe everyone will know that you are hiding here, so you should just obediently grab your hands, haha. King Li Jing smiled triumphantly. With a reward of 1 million true crystals and the opportunity to make friends with the Zuo family, I believe that 99% of the people in the city will choose to go out of the city to hunt down Jin Feng. And some of them are very evil in nature. If Jin Feng falls into their hands, he will be tortured endlessly first, and then let him die slowly. Therefore, if it fell into their hands, it would be better to save the existence of King Li Jing and others. This is also the reason why King Li Jing forced Jin Feng. And Jin Feng seemed to be indifferent at all, and there was no fear in his eyes, only sighs and helplessness. I saved all of your lives just now, and now you want to avenge me for mere resources. Jin Feng rarely communicates with others, so he is rarely betrayed. Although his disposition is not kind, but he would never do such an obscene thing, so he is very emotional. HMPH, why did you save my life? I haven't exhausted my divine power yet, and those two-headed corpse worms intended to leave in the first place. It's just a coincidence that you're trying to be obedient. The bloody river sneered, and without any explanation, it moved the Wanli blood pool and threw it towards Jin Feng. Come, eat, I've recruited. Boom. The river of blood suddenly shrank in the sky, and then hit Jin Feng's position, and the blood mist burst out all over the sky, as if dyed the whole world red. Without the means of witchcraft, it's nothing more than that. Ha ha ha. Seeing the position of Jin Feng who was hit below, Zhu Shuiyi couldn't help laughing out loud, but the laughter stopped abruptly, because in the blood mist that filled the sky, a golden light suddenly bloomed. In an instant, there was a buzzing sound like metal trembling within a million miles around, accompanied by the sound that filled the sky. Shi King Kong's sharp golden light came from Ku Jinfeng's body. This golden light was as thick as mist, and it wiped away the blood mist that filled the sky in just an instant. Holding Beishuan's sword in his hand, Jin Feng looked at these people coldly, and said indifferently, since you are looking for death, then I will not hold back. And several people sneered when they heard this. Jin Feng, you are too arrogant. You just used up a lot of divine power, right? Saying these words now is simply courting death. Let's go together. Don't let him use the witchcraft method. Yes, it's up from the sun. Li Jingwang and others burned their divine bodies one after another, exposing their strongest secret technique, and then attacked Jin Feng's position one by one. Well done. Jin Feng sneered, and with a wave of the Beishuan sword in his hand, thousands of sword lights appeared out of thin air, smashing their attacks with ease, and then rushed towards them. How can it be? Isn't he immortal? Why can he have such great power? Amazing. Ah, run. No, Jin Feng is too powerful, we are not opponents. Everyone reacted, terrified, and just wanted to escape, but was instantly swallowed by the sword light, leaving behind screams, and before they even had time to self-destruct, all the gods were annihilated. If you want to die, why not? Jin Feng looked at the corpses of these people, sneered, and took away all the world rings with his hand, then suddenly remembered something. Just now, King Li Jing said that he has reported my location to God Emperor City, and it is estimated that many people have come to look for me now. Jin Feng shook his head helplessly. In the God Emperor City, it is strictly forbidden to do it without permission, otherwise you will be expelled from the God Emperor City. And the last time I killed the Insect King without incident 4.3, it was also because the two brothers from the Zuo family were present, and because no one else could see it in the restaurant. In front of the public, even the Zuo family had to act like a businessman, and could not let his subordinates do it on the spot, so Zuo Kingbo chose to borrow a knife to kill people, and offered a reward of Jin Feng's life with 1 million real crystals. Once Jin Feng returned to God Emperor City at this moment, he might be surrounded by a pack of wolves like a sheep. Forget it. Originally, my purpose was to come to this ancient battlefield to hunt for treasures, to see if I could find treasures related to accelerated cultivation. The God Emperor City is just a place to stay. It doesn't matter if I go back now or not. It's just those who came to the ancient battlefield to hunt down. A cold light flashed in Jin Feng's eyes. Since you dare to come, don't blame me for being cruel. You dare to come, don't blame me for being cruel. You dare to come, don't blame me for being cruel. You dare to come, don't blame me for being cruel. You dare to come, don't blame me for being cruel. You dare to come, don't blame me for being cruel. You dare to come, don't blame me for being cruel. You dare to